Good.
Sticky.
Are we on? I'd like to call the June 26, 2025 Montecito Board of Architectural Review to order. First item on the agenda is public comment for an item that is not on our agenda. Is there anybody that would like to address the board, please?
No request to speak.
Agenda status report, David? We lost one, right? 7?
Yes, item number 7, the applicant has requested to drop the item from the standard agenda. They were not quite able to get the story pulse up for today's meeting.
Okay.
And they do not have a return date in mind yet.
Okay, so I'll move to drop item 7, 600 El Bosque Road from today's agenda. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Anybody, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Minutes of June 12th. Anybody got anything, please? Okay, so anybody on the motion for adjournment, the last page, I think it's 7-0. Because I don't think I was absent for the.
You had to recuse. I don't think you came back.
Oh, I didn't come
I
back?
don't think you came back.
Okay, very good. Then I have nothing.
Good job, Kimberly.
I'd like to move for approval of the minutes of June 12th, 2025. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Okay, members' informational briefings. Anybody got anything, please? Staff update?
Nothing from me.
Okay, item number 1. So I'm chair.
Just 1 minute. I noticed that Kimberly isn't online yet. Let me just send her a quick text message.
Shall we wait for her?
Yeah, I think we should wait for her.
Veronica, are you with us? Can you get,
I don't think Veronica is coming today.
it'd be nice to have her.
Yes. Looks like I do see Miss King. just
Okay.
joined.
Good, excellent. In Kimberly? Okay. See, the second hand doesn't matter.
That's right. Sitting around and waiting. Everybody else doesn't have a second.
Yes, he is. He's in. He decided to go and get squirt gunned.
Oh. They doing that?
Yeah, we're checking Barcelona. And apparently women and girls. Can we get going anyway, or no?
Okay. I just resent Kimberly's invite, so we should be okay.
So I'd like to tell people what item number 1 is about. So as chair, various things go on in the background, including the request by the applicant not to have or to request that the MBAR come in a sub-quorum context so that it does not become an official meeting, which then would require anybody that wants to attend, including the neighbors, to come onto their property. Apparently, the neighbors and the applicant in this particular case are not getting along. So I wanted to address this with the board. We are going to have a discussion. This is a discussion item of. We will have public comment if you want to make that at the end. Okay. So the question is, what does the board want to do with this? And do we want to insist on going? Which sounds like it's going to be a impasse with the applicant. Do we want to go in smaller groups? Do we want to forego this? I did not want to make this decision on my own, and I'd love to hear from people. This is the project that El Bosque, 565 El Bosque. And at least one of the issues is the increased water flow onto the neighbor's property, which we would be able to get a better understanding of if we did the site visit. So I'd like to leave it open to everybody. What do you want to do, people?
So the story poles we asked for, I mean, this is because it's a
The
garage.
garage
It has
is
two
two stories,
stories,
yeah.
yeah. Okay. The house is single story.
Comments? What do people want to do, please? We've got a long agenda today.
Well, because we've had no site photos except for 4. And it doesn't look like in this new submittal that there's additional site photos. I would say that the site visit
You want to do a site,
and for hydrology, yeah.
I like the idea of a site visit. I mean, we're trying to find ways to make it work for the applicant, certainly, and that might help us see the site a little.
they will not permit us to go as a group.
As a group, so we would just have to splinter and go when we can go.
Okay.
I'm okay with that.
Do that.
I don't care.
Yep, comments? Yeah. So it's better to go in in a splintered environment than to not go at all.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we've been invited onto the neighboring property as well. I saw.
Well, I don't know. Okay, so what it sounds like is we can't schedule it though. Because then it becomes a Brown Act thing and all the rest of that.
And they say, if you come to the site between, 8 and 5 on Wednesday, is that scheduled?
Veronica, Chip,
I think we can schedule it. We don't have to go together, but because it's an official meeting. So, site visit, so we can, email, the county or the applicants and they give us some timeline and we can combine our own.
If we did it on the Thursday that we meet and meet
Yeah.
between 8 and 1,
Between 8 and whatever, and we can,
does that qualify as not scheduled?
I don't know. We cannot be officially noticed.
because.
The holdback is that an official site visit operates under the Brown Act. The Brown Act requires that anybody that wants to attend a BAR meeting has the right to attend. The applicant has refused to have neighbors on their property. So it's the problem of the applicant not allowing neighbors to the property.
So, here's my take on that. We are trying to approve something. And it's important we see it. If we don't want it to see it, make it too difficult, then they do it at their own risk.
Who does it at their own risk?
The applicant.
Okay,
So that's,
So
Let's find out what the
let's,
allowables are and if the window in the morning on that Thursday of our meeting between 8 and 1 is available and doesn't constitute a Brown Act action, then let's do that. Otherwise, I don't know what we would do unless they gave us a week, between Monday and Friday, any time between. I don't know how often they want to leave their house.
as I understand it, we can break into groups of 3, 3, and 1, or 3, 2, 2. And if we could then possibly assign a 9 o'clock, 9:15, or 9:20, 9:30, 9:40, something like that
On Thursday.
on the Thursday. That, okay?
Yep.
But it can't be scheduled, can't be official.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, thank you.
I could interject. I'm not certain, not an attorney, but I am uncomfortable with the idea of sequential site visits such that every member of the MBAR would eventually be on the site. It may have the appearance of circumventing the Brown Act rules. I think it would be more appropriate if each of the members reached out directly to the applicant and arranged a specific time for that member to attend, and or if MBAR elected 2 or 3 people from the board to go view the site and report back to the MBAR as a whole.
Kimberly, what I was thinking is if it was 15 or 20 minutes, the first group would be done by that time and gone. Then the second group would be there and they'd be gone in 15 or 20 minutes. So the third group can come. And so we would never be,
It may technically be consistent with the Brown Act regulations. It may have the appearance of trying to circumvent them.
so you think it's potentially a serial meeting?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Okay, well, we do want to err on caution here. Okay, what do board members, that's why I didn't want to do this on my own. Board members?
Make it non-sequential, like break it up. So 10 a.m., 3 people can go and they'll be there for 15 minutes. And then later, like 11:15, 2 people and.
How are you with that,
2.
with that?
Like with a good long. break.
Kimberly, with enough time, are you okay with that?
I don't know the regulations. It still sounds and appears like a sequential meeting to me. Again, I think it would need to be, an attorney would need to weigh in on whether or not that meets the Brown Act criteria.
Dawn, can you explain, is the property open most of the time or is there a gate? Is it accessible to anybody, and not that she's going to want strangers walking on the property without being announced?
No, press the little,
And it's closed. The property's gated and it's closed all the time. But when it's my turn to talk, I think I can shed some light on this situation.
Maybe we
Okay.
can call you or something and say, I'd like to come by.
okay,
such and
so
such day.
shall we have public comment right now?
Yeah, let's do
Okay.
that.
Because oftentimes we'll have a presentation, public comment, and then a decision. We have at least 2. Is there anybody else in the audience that want, okay. Please fill out a slip in the back right-hand corner with your name, et cetera. Okay, so Dawn, you have 3 minutes.
So I've been trying to get the site visit scheduled since the last time I was here to see you guys, and I've been working with.
Sir, right in the corner. Yes,
I've been trying to work this out with Veronica, and I just want to make it clear that the applicant really wants you to see the site if you want to see. There's nothing about this that has to do with the board, and Michael's completely open to it. I suggested to Veronica, like right after the last meeting, that when this came up and I talked to her on the phone, that one of my suggestions was to go ahead and schedule, and I don't know if this is possible, Kimberly, you maybe know better than me, but you could have your I was thinking you could have your formal meeting in the driveway. And then just individual members could go in and look around and come back out. And you could agendize it because the meeting is in the driveway, not inside the property. So that, to me, would not be a conflict. And I also think that when you're talking about, in my opinion, and I'm not an attorney either, but if you stated that the only reason that the meeting is conducted outside and that several members have to go in at one time instead of everybody is only because the property owner doesn't want the neighbors to go on the property, and he has a right to do that. So in that way, it would be making a statement, a specific statement that clearly states that it's a right of the property owner that the neighbors are not allowed on his property, if that is in fact a right. If another option would be, I could take a video and take it all around and then bring it and present it, and it would be like I could bring it here, I could bring it to the next meeting. The owner's not trying to hide anything. He wants, like I said, he wants you guys to attend. If you need more site photos, it sounded like maybe you thought that there weren't any site photos. If there were specific site photos that I could take, I'm happy to take a video or more site photos. And let's see, I had something else. It also, somebody mentioned that the owner doesn't get along with the neighbors, and that's not true either. What I've been told is that there is a restraining order between two of the neighbors, not with my client, but there's neighborhood, quote, animosity that Michael, having just had open heart surgery, doesn't want to be a part of. And that's why he's saying this. And what else did I want to say? There's one more thing. Yeah, there's no animosity. And we've been waiting. I recommend a driveway meeting. And that's what I had to say.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, please. Yes, over there. And then hand the piece of paper to David here so that afterwards is fine.
I'm the owner of the property just below Mr. Haber's at 559 Elbosky Road. I'd just like to clarify, I've left off a statement for the board. It's probably been circulated to you, so I'm not going to repeat all that. And I already discussed the issue of the runoff. Just a couple of clarifications. You should know that the driveway that Mr. Haber used is my driveway at 559 Elbosky Road. There is an easement on that the owner of 565 can use the entry off Elbosky Road to the drive to his entry, which he uses. He has his own driveway further up Elbosky Road, but he prefers not to use that because it's a little steep. So he prefers to use the one off of my driveway. We've had tolerable relations. It's not an antagonistic relationship, basically, apart from the issue of the water runoff, which I've pressed him on sort of repeatedly. He's never argued against it, but he's just sort of not done anything about it. And so my issue, the concern is all this building. And I just focused on earlier on the pickleball court because that's the largest piece of ground that would be covered by concrete. But I would object to any further construction or any construction that would increase the impermeability of his property. For example, he was good enough to, when he put his driveway in front of his house, he covered it with gravel, which is helpful to me that it minimizes the runoff from that area. If somebody earlier last week mentioned they'd prefer to see something other than gravel, well, as long as it's permeable, I'm in favor of it. I don't object to anything there. I think those are the main points. If anybody has any questions, you're welcome to come on my property anytime. I own the driveway, as I said, it's my property. And you can come down and take a look at the whole issue of water runoff from my property too, if you'd like to get a full picture of it.
Okay. Did you also write us a letter?
I did, a memo.
Very good. So I will not go through that. There is a letter in the file if anybody wants to read it. Thank you. Anybody else, please?
And I forgot one thing, but I know it's not my
No.
turn, but I forgot to mention one thing about the pickleball court.
No? Okay, so what do we want to do, guys? We have a long meeting today.
I think we need to find out from Kimberly, I guess, or what the law will allow.
Veronica,
Veronica, and
we're gonna have to put this off for one meeting then?
Still request a site visit.
I think the site visit's important.
Veronica, can you and Kimberly and maybe county council or whomever needs to figure out what's going on? Is that okay?
Yes.
Because I think our preference would be to do something like 3-3-1, right? Or 3-2-2. And I don't know if that's legal. Let's see if that's legal.
Preferably on the day we have the regular standard meeting.
Okay? Everybody? Okay, item number 2. Thank you very much.
Oh, can I just say one more thing? I'm sorry. The applicant is eliminating the pickleball. I wanted everybody to know that.
Fine. You can tell us that when it's your turn to have a meeting. This is not a meeting about the project. This is a meeting about how to get site visit. I don't want to be rude here, but okay. Conceptual review, item number 2, 855 Rock Bridge Road. Is there anybody here for that item? Thank you all. Oh, good, you are. The floor is yours, sir.
Alrighty, so I'm here as the agent representing the client at 855 Rockbridge Road. Good afternoon. Mike McGuire is my name. And this application is for a detached garage to the existing single level, single family home. The reason for the detached garage is that there's a tandem JADU proposal for the existing garage. In order to formalize that JADU, we need to replace 2 covered parking spaces. And that is what this covered detached garage is. I think still on there you go. Yeah, so here's the property. There's the existing single family residence. You can see there's the existing garage that would be turned into a JADU, and then the detached garage would be right outside of that. This is again Rock 855 Rockbridge, so it's I think the Ribbon Rock district, or it's a smaller subsection in Montecito, and the road leading to the residence is private. You can see in the site photo, most of the lot is actually taken up with mature oak trees. This spot is outside of the critical root zone of any of those trees. We can go next slide. We had a land survey done, and as part of our flood approval, it is in the recovery map zone. So the existing single level home does not need to fall into the recovery map standards, but as a new structure on the lot, the detached garage would. So we have a survey, and then if you go to the next slide, you'll see that we had Flower and Associates develop kind of a little bit of a grading plan for us. Showing kind of where the recovery map flood elevation is. And then further in the package, you'll see there are some details showing that this garage for the bottom 2 feet will be concrete and flood rated with flood vents. And that we will sign a covenant with the city saying that, or the county saying that it will remain a garage and not adopt a different use. So if we keep going, this is our just existing site plan, and you can see there's like a little pull out to the side of the house. We're taking a little bit of that off, as well as the existing apron leading to the now garage, but future JADU. Go one more. All Right, and you can see with the placed detached garage on site, we are also planning a pergola or arbor between the existing garage of JADU and the new detached garage. They're 10 feet separated, and there's a breezeway there now that would be formed. And so part of this is also pulling extra equipment needed for the JADU to that breezeway so that it's kind of out of view of the backyard. And then we have our fire access, and we've gone over with Montecito Fire that all seems to be fine. Keep going.
And elevations, please. We don't need
go.
that. There you go.
So here are the elevations. You can see the garage on the very top is to the left, and there's a proposed wood pergola structure coming out, kind of connecting the two. The idea for aesthetics is kind of similar to a more rustic San Ysidro Ranch. If you go to the next slide, I think there might be there you go. There's a colored version of it showing the garage with the proposed doors and the roof tile and the proposed plaster finish on the outside. And then we'll have some concrete board because it's in a fire area on the top as an accent on the garage.
Does that do it?
Yep.
Okay, questions, Bill?
Are you going to change the garage door, the existing garage door? Or is that future?
Yeah, so we originally had that on these plans, but the county asked us to put those only on the future JADU plan. So the garage will be taken out and replaced with 2 windows, just like the existing windows to the left of the front door.
You know, I think we have to be very careful about anything to do with an accessory dwelling unit and restricting our actions to things that are not ADUs.
And is the second question, the roof tile, is that the sample of it right there? It's kind of a flat pan, sort of okay, is that existing like that?
No, that's, well, it's pseudo existing because we have an existing main house renovation building permit, and that roof tile is on that building permit.
It'll match.
So yeah, it'll match what is going in about 3 months, fingers crossed.
Okay, great. That's it. Thanks.
Chip, questions, please.
No questions.
Stacy,
No questions.
Robert? And I have no questions. Public comment. Is there anybody that would like to address the board on item number 2, 855 Rock Bridge Road, please?
No request to speak.
Okay, comments. We're on for concept today. Bill?
Yeah, I don't.
On consent. Tip?
Yeah, I think this project can go in for preliminary final on consent.
Stacy?
I agree. Preliminary final.
Robert? And my only comment is, can we look at the site plan? The fire department is getting more interested in having us have non-planted area 5 feet from the garage. I see something that's got a hatch. Could you talk about what that is, please?
Yeah, are you speaking about around the
Around the
proposed garage?
proposed garage.
Yeah, that's just showing that it's additional concrete under the garage for foundation, and then outside will be new asphalt to match the existing driveway. So none of it will be planted.
You know, I guess my comment is around minimize hard things. Look to gravel, look to gravel around the garage, and so it can seep in, so we don't add to runoff. And it's not a requirement of the law yet, but it will be sooner, 5 feet around the building,
Okay,
okay?
okay.
And then preliminary final on consent from my point of view too, okay?
So
That it?
just a quick reminder, just even when you're agreeing, if you could just remember to turn on your mic, that'd be much appreciated. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Michael. Okay, item number 3756 Hot Springs Road. Diana, are you with us? Out over there. Okay. Why don't you focus in on what has changed? Try to keep things moving, but thoroughly. There you go.
Good afternoon. My name is Diana Kelly. I'm the designer on the project along with the owners. This is Chad Cardy, the owner and builder on the project. Chad and his wife want to fully renovate this house built in 1978. If we turn to the next sheet, A0.1, there are the photos of the location and showing all the existing views from outside, and also Chad took some inside with views looking out at the parcel and up from on top of the flat roof. Much of the existing house and foundation will be maintained, and the additional area mostly happens to the south. And this will help improve the functionality of the house for the large family. The house is located on private road, Los Tejas, which is located off Hot Springs Road at the upper end. There is an easement along the right side parcel. If we go to the next sheet, please. Next sheet to the existing site plan. So this is the full parcel along the right side, property lines on the outer edge. That road from south to north is called Hot Springs, but it's a private road, and it's really the driveway to this parcel and one neighbor to the north. Let's see. I want to thank you for all the previous feedback on the project. We've heard your comments and studied, and I did a 3D model, but it's not quite presentable, so I don't bring it. It's just too hard to do that for me right now. But it helps to study and refine this project to improve the design more. We've made the following revisions for your consideration because of all this feedback. So we have reduced the square footage even more from our last meeting. Initially, we started at a high FAR, as you know, at 153%. So we brought that down last meeting to 117. And now I believe we're at 110% of the FAR. This was achieved by deleting the proposed detached 3-car garage. Instead, the owners would like an attached 2-car garage in the basement level now. The existing attached 4-car garage on the first floor at the north side is to be demolished to create more living space for kids' bedrooms. The first floor addition area is reduced also.
Diana,
Yes, sir.
which sheet would?
Oh, please go to the next set. So this should focus up a little better.
That,
So with Bill's comment from last time, I pumped up the scale more and I kept it colorful to have the, better delineation. I shaded down the trees so that wouldn't be so obnoxious.
Diana,
So,
does the mic, portable mic work? Could you walk up there and point out things while you bring up your notes by all means, just to help clarify this?
hello?
Thank you.
Okay, so let's see. The first floor, okay, so you want to go, well,
You want to go back?
this is the area where the 4-car garage exists right now. And the driveway comes up to that, to a motor court. So we want to demolish that garage and still build upon, on top of the slab. He can keep that. He doesn't have to do that work. But turn that into his kids' room and a nanny, and then get rid of the motor court. Okay. All right, so also the whole first floor addition area is reduced by 542 net square feet. I brought that down from 1,500 square feet. We did this by compressing the proposed addition from the south end moving upward. So I compressed in and I shrank the entry and just shrank every room. This still allows ample space for their young family of 6 people. The portion of the house, if you go to A 1.0, please, the portion of the house that juts out to be demolished on both levels. And that's how we get that better floor plan. If you go to the next page, please, A 1.1. Okay, so that backward. All right, the area of the basement becomes foundation for the first floor balcony now, this long balcony along the south edge with the pergola above, right here in the center. If we go to the next sheet, A 1.2, that's the lower southern part. It's the existing, it's called a workshop legally on all our archive documents, but it's Chad's office right now. And I believe you call it a guest house on the form, but anyway, the portion of the house that juts out gets demolished. The area of the basement becomes foundation for this balcony. So if we go to the next sheet, please. This is the existing plan. That gets taken off. Next page, please. This is upstairs. All of that comes off. And next sheet, this will be the foundation, the basement level now. So we propose a 2-car garage here, connecting to the extended driveway. And we took out basement area. This will just be infilled with dirt up almost to the floor joist. And then that basement area remains. That's a big concrete foundation to a fireplace above. That's an existing rec room with a gorgeous pool table. And then that's a new stairway at the top so that you have interconnection to the first floor from the garage. And these are the lower parts of the stairs of the balcony. From last time, this is all now crawl space over here, no longer considered a proposed basement area. So we took that off.
What's that L-shaped thing in the lower left-hand corner?
Okay, so if you go to A 3.12, please. We want to add a new mid-level terrace to help break up this elevation. So on sheet A 2.11, that's the first floor plan. That shows it more of what the uses are off of the balcony, down the stair to an outdoor dining area, outdoor lounge with fire pit, barbecue. I want to get a planter here to help put greenery against this low guardrail wall around the balcony above. And so that helped break it up along all that elevation. Okay, and then
Can we just get right to the elevations, Diana? Please?
well, this is big. I want to work it out with you because I believe the basement is now wholly underground.
It looks like that to me.
Great. You're the person I'm aiming for here.
Okay.
So on the cover sheet, A 0.0, I actually put both forms. And that's what gets us to 110% now. Because existing underground is at the north and the west. And then all the infill here buries it. And then it's behind the garage. So nobody knows it's there. It's wholly underground.
We get to the elevator.
Agreed?
I agree.
Okay.
He's,
So we're at 110% FAR then. Okay, now, if we look at the sections before elevations, A 3.20, please. This is showing that area of fill right underneath the pergola and the basement behind it. In the next sheet, please, A 3.21. This is all that infill area of basement, okay? And then we step down to this new mid-level terrace, and I want to put the pool equipment underneath that too, so the noise and the visibility is far away from the house and won't bother the neighbors. Okay, and if we go to elevations, A 3.11, please. Great, A 3.11. So I've set it up existing and proposed, so by comparison. In elevations from what we first presented to you, we've lowered the proposed roof and plate heights to decrease all the earlier massing that we showed you. The owners want to remove the asphalt shingled mansard roof all around. New design preferred is to continue to have a flat roof, but with parapets with a simple cornice band as shown. And solar panels will be on that roof and not on the ground, on the land. Landscape is added to have climbing vines to help. It's going to go from a plaster exterior, or it's going to go from what's T111 wood siding to a plaster exterior. And you can see there's some plaster details here I can show you on the image that inspired the owners. We'll get to that next, of some images that reflect why we're doing this here. Okay, so we brought all the plate heights and parapet heights down, mostly 2 feet lower at the kids area here. And at the entry, I dropped it 3 feet lower. And at the more common rooms, like the living room, family room, kitchen, we dropped the roof framing 6 inches, but also dropped the parapet. Chimney stacks all lowered 2 feet as well. The proposed pergola, A 3.12, plus this side view. But if you go to the next sheet too, it was commented on last visit to study that more. So we did. And I raised the beams up to align with the roof framing more. These are metal awnings. Okay, what else? The guardrails are wood with cable rail. Let's see. So you heard about the mid-level terrace. Okay, if we look at A 0.2, we'll come back to the other elevations in a sec. Just want to tie you into the images. Next sheet, there you go. You can't zoom in, can you? Okay, so they really like this simple detail around the openings to recess them. So that's what that band is around every door or window opening. Climbing vegetation, plantings of climbing rose or creeping vine to get more greenery to help soften it. Color is more ivory though than white. Every landing and pool deck would be French limestone. And gravel driveway, and then decomposed granite pathways around. But if you go down on this sheet, if you can scroll a little, there's this easy pave system we want to use that for the driveway and for the kids' playing area, and then it gets infilled so that it's permeable. So it's not asphalt paving. Okay, if we could go to A313, we can look at the elevations around the side, please. Okay, this is the south part. That's the mid-level terrace. That's where existing grade is now. That's to the primary bedroom, and that's the north of the parcel. And the next sheet, it's to the pool equipment underneath there. And next sheet, please, A314. And this is the north elevation. Let's see. And you've seen the sections already. Okay, please go further down. Okay, for site work, oh, okay. If you go to A1.1, please. I'm gonna go back to the site plan. So I said we've enlarged the sheet size and the scale of drawings so you can discern our intent better. I left colors visible. The revised driveway will entail demolishing the existing concrete motor court to provide the enclosed kids' playing area to the north there, in the right corner. And I talked about easy pave will be grass infill there at the kids' play area, and then decomposed granite fill all around the wavy walkway path around. And the rest is existing grass on the land. There are 2 gates proposed still, one swinging and one rolling. This is the existing concrete apron coming in, and then it loops around for front door access, and then in here to the garage below here, and then out this rolling gate for a nice gentle loop. This is basically his driveway as well, easement on his land. Almost done. Okay, if we go to L-1, the last sheet in the set, this shows the full parcel, still smaller, but if you need to enlarge it, we'll go back to the site plans. L.1 is the landscape plan for concept. Mr. Fowler wanted more wavy walkway, so I created that versus straight edge of decomposed granite. There are new planters added all around the house. The existing landscape is maintained all around, but enhanced. And these are low water usage plants that we're proposing. There's a new sitting area with fountain and hot tub at the more primary suite of the northwest corner up there. French limestone landings all around, pool deck area, mid-level terrace to be French limestone as well. And up on the deck, though, of the balcony is wood. Some kind of wood, epay perhaps. Let's see. I love this design more now than when we started, and certainly it's a vast improvement from what's existing there today. Please help us progress to the next stage to get this concept into reality for the owners.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kimberly, before
Yes.
we get started, is this subject to SB 330?
I'm sorry, the project description, is it a demo rebuild of a single family?
It's a single house remodel.
It's just a remodel, no.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so Tip, questions?
So it seems like even though it's a single family remodel, it seems like it's going to be a brand new home. Everything's new
Not everything, sir.
because the exterior is all changed. You go from siding to wood. You change from the slope roof to the flat roof. You change all the doors and windows. You're adding the pool. You're bringing the garage downstairs, and you take out the driveway. So it literally, it's just in the same location, but pretty much the new house.
And therefore,
Therefore, why don't you just start over from ground zero?
He's maintaining the foundation and the framing of the whole north part. So he is able to salvage all that.
And
And
you think you
it
can?
is not a
salvage-
pitched roof, it is a flat roof,
Yeah.
which you can see on the photo sheets.
Uh-huh.
If we want to go to that, A0.1. So it's an existing flat roof.
Chad, you're a contractor, right? Okay, so he's made the decision to do this. It's not as if he's a babe in the woods.
Mhm.
Okay, any other questions, please?
And economically, that's how it works out. He's going to salvage as much as he can. He simply has to take the T111 off, T111 siding, and he's got framing he can work on, and then inside, in frame.
Okay. I-
And the foundation is structurally sound. We've had that checked by an engineer. And that continues through most of that basement. And then now our addition gets to 967, I believe, and not what's written on the agenda. So if you could please look at that, our addition area is a lot smaller than what I first initially showed. So that needs update, please. And then there are no accessory structures for this proposed, so in the title of this too, that could be taken off. It's an addition remodel.
That's fine. Thank you. That's all.
Sir.
Robert, questions, please? Stacy, questions?
Let me look at the site plan.
Which one?
A1.1.
Just an overall site plan that shows all the usage. No, the proposed site plan, the big overall supply, you can
This
just
is
even go to
half
the
of
left.
it.
Okay, good enough.
But there's no work to the south.
Okay. Keeping in mind that you're keeping the foundations, you are moving all the rooms around, correct?
Mm,
These rooms are different than the current house. The bedrooms are in different spots. The kitchen is different, correct? Most of the interior is completely different.
somewhat, but the kitchen is near the existing kitchen and all the plumbing that we want to connect to.
Question is, did you consider making the front entry on the north side of the house? Style-wise, I'm just looking at it coming from the side. It just feels like the front of the house is to the north. I'm just.
And that's where it
curious
is
if you thought about that.
existing.
So you consider that the main entry is the north, not
No,
on
the east. We
east.
now want to be the main entry facing the street.
Yes.
The one at the north is existing and it just seems very out of place, especially if a site wall goes in to block the driveway area from the kids' play area and make a private yard all across the north.
But have you considered the constraints on the east side in terms of how the traffic moves through the site with a car coming in and the turn radius and getting into the garage and exiting? It feels cramped. Have you considered reutilizing going back to the north for an entrance?
No, this is why we designed it this way, to go past the front.
Okay, and then,
People can park on that driveway, not just where I've dotted it out for guest parking.
so that's where the guest parking is right
And the turning radius works fine coming down and around.
Mhm.
The owners could also shoot through that rolling gate with their own openers if they wanted to not have to loop up and around.
Mhm.
So that works well for them. And the fire department likes our looping driveway more than a T-shaped.
And then the back elevation. Why not keep it,
I mean, the north
I'm sorry, the back elevation of the house on the pool side?
on the pool side, so south, front. Next sheet, please.
Why not have symmetry in the staircase coming down? Why not have it, if it's going to do a switchback, do it on the right as well as the left? So that the staircase,
Well,
Symmetrical.
initially I designed it symmetrically.
Mhm.
The owners don't want two stairs, they wanted one.
Mhm.
And then when I suggested we add a mid-level terrace, this worked out best for doing it at half the height of the stairway coming down there on the left side. That helped divide it in a more switchback stair position, and better to have that landing on the west side versus anything added more on the right, because we also want that door coming out of the garage as well, and there'll be planters on each side of that door, and that's on the site plan, if that's all lounge, more better deck, pool deck, lounge area.
so you have French doors coming off of the garage? Is that?
Yes,
So with side lights and everything, just to a garage?
yes.
Okay. And the railing, because we discussed this, I remember in the last review about the style of the architecture. perhaps not going with a steel cable rail system. It's a very formal architecture that usually carries out in the railing and all of the components. Why did you keep the cable rail?
That's what the owner wants from all options I showed them.
Okay.
And an image on a 0.2
Okay.
is something that it's not so formal that you can't do this. It's modern, it's contemporary. So we're not going for this elegant French design or something, to do metal rails. She wants these cable rails that she's done before on other properties.
Okay.
Cost effectiveness as well, mostly. And glass was ruled out for upkeep. This is what they preferred.
Okay, those are my questions.
Thank you.
Bill, questions, please.
Yeah, Dave, could you go to A311? So, Diana, the elevation change from the entry to the garage, right? You've got 5 or 6 feet from the bottom of the steps to get to the garage door. Let's go back to the site plan there too, Dave, if you could. I think, have you thought about the idea of not connecting the two driveways together, not having a driveway pull in front of the door, because you've got to pick up 5 or 6 feet between the front door steps and the garage. I don't think you're going to be able to do that. And have you thought about the idea of coming in with a separate drive that takes you to the garage, and then maybe a separate driveway that takes you up to the entry for guests to park at, and not have that connection between the two, and not fiddle with, well, they have the access from the street, you can still pull in the driveway.
Yeah, we can't quite get the T-shaped
Well,
fire equipment turnaround up north there.
is the T-shape in the, can you use it in the street and the gate? Or does it have to be on the property? Because 150 feet hose, I mean, it might be something, I don't know if you'd thought about that, if there was, I just see that there's gonna be some grade issue there.
Yeah,
I don't,
solved by retaining walls out
yeah,
coming around that bottom landing of the front entry.
I think it'll be too steep to be able to get in there. That's all, it just looks like it's gonna be not capable of getting, and I don't know if you've gotten into the grading and the elevation work out in your civil yet, but it just seems like that's gonna be
Tight.
area and wanted to.
It'll be tight.
Thought about it.
Yes, sir.
And then does this street, the road, which you said is a driveway, I guess, how many does it service?
One neighbor to the north,
That's
and this parcel,
this part?
and it's on his parcel. It's an easement.
Yeah.
There's a mansion on the east side. Does he might have a landscape gate up top, but it's just for these two. And I have asked him if he wants to do one gate at that private road down below and just work it out with his neighbor and only have one opening. But this keeps it more private to his parcel and keep that neighbor to the north out of it.
Okay, that was all I had question. Thanks.
Thank you.
Stacy's question actually she asked it from point A. I'm going to try it from point B. It looks like you're softening a modern piece of architecture with a cornice that may or may not make sense. And it may be a stronger piece of architecture if you eliminated the cornice, leave the same parapet height, and therefore make the cable rail make more sense stylistically. And so the question is, have you thought about that, simplifying the construction? So there's the question.
Sure, if we look at A311, we can look at that together. I wanted to have a simple band, so it's really just like a 2x8 at the
I know.
top to give it, to not be straight.
I know what you're doing.
Yeah, it's so simple, then
It's
so,
very
but,
simple.
and I did another
Diana, it was a simple question.
Sure.
Have you considered it
To just take it straight on up and not have that
and turn it into a much more
modern?
modern building? And therefore, one of the reasons they did it back in the 1920s and 30s was to keep things as simple as they could to keep the cost down.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure it ever ended up that way in custom homes. But anyway, you don't want to do it, that's fine. It's up. I don't think that this is any requirement that I would ever, I'm just asking whether or not.
I just thought it added a nice, it's a detail. So it wasn't just a block.
Sir, are you here for this item? Okay. Public comment. Is there anybody that would like to address the board on item number 3, 756 Hot Springs Road, please?
No requests.
Okay, we are on for concept today. And let's see if we can get this into preliminary final for the next time. Back the same way. Tip, comments, please.
Yeah, I like to see, maybe the next step is to, come back with a grading plan, to see how, everything works out. The approach, the swimming pool, the garage approach, the front door. And make sure that what you propose is, accurate and workable. And other than that, I like the parapet. I think that kind of softened up a little bit. It's, the front entrance is a little bit too grand, I think, for the house of this scale. I know it's a private driveway serving maybe one or two other houses at the end. And I think that is a very, an element that I think is a little bit out of scale with the house that could bring quite a bit of light into, that driveway at nighttime. And I'm not sure do you want that or not in terms of great design. So I like for you to take a look at the proportion of the front door, and the opening. And other than that, I definitely think there will be, an improvement for what you have now. And I have a little concern about how the massing over one garage tie down to the second garage door to the left. There seems to be a low weak point of connection between the main floor down to the garage, right at the railing, on top of the, outside garage door. So take a look at that too. Other than that, I think, yeah, it'd probably be, ready for preliminary approval, at the next meeting.
Robert, comments, please.
I'm a bit perplexed by the design, but
Can you pull the mic closer to you?
yeah.
Can you put yourself closer to the mic?
I'm okay with it. I think it can maybe come back for prelim final, but prelim might be better.
Stacy,
Tough one. I'm okay with the style of the architecture. I think it's definitely improved since the last round. It's come down, its proportions are definitely improved. I forgot to ask, so on the existing framing, is it 4-inch framing on the existing home? So you're gonna not have, how are we going to achieve depth to the windows and the doors? Are they gonna be pretty?
It's a mix right now of 2x4s and 2x6s and 2x8.
So some windows are going to be pretty flat and other ones are going to be
No.
more recessed?
He's gonna recess all
Okay,
doors and windows and trim it out.
okay, okay.
Yeah, we want that depth and shadow.
Um, still, I think I'm okay with the massing now, the architecture, except for the back terrace. I have problems with it not being symmetrical. Somehow bring it in back to symmetry like you had before. You could maybe consider switchbacking the other stair railing, something. I'm not sure if you need French doors coming out of a garage, but you want them. So be it. I do think you have to study the grading with the garage and the front door entry. I agree with Bill, that's most likely not going to work. I would suggest reconsidering, because it feels like there's multiple front doors the way that the architecture is massed. It still feels like there's a front door on the north side, and to me, it feels like that's where it really wants to be, like, just because that's the grand.
A314.
Yeah, the grand facade feels more to the north to this house, and it feels diminutive on the east, but
So they have double doors existing for the front door there.
yeah.
And then
it's diff-
these, as suggested, are on access with the kitchen and dining area.
Yeah,
A beautiful hallway of light now.
yeah.
And then a tree at the, the focal point through these doors.
It feels like it wants to be a front door there.
But the north is such a private landscape area for the family.
There's other,
Site wall blocking.
there's so much area to this site that I think you could maybe re-explore that as well. Just consider it.
Will do.
And then in the landscape plans, going through those, so
L1.
yeah, I'm watching, I know Rob made the comment of curving the path. So when you curve a path, you either have to go for a real curve. These are kind of like, they just feel a little bit like I'm not sure where I'm going with this. I'm going to just jiggle it a little bit. You have to either go for full curves and really go with the informal landscape. But I feel like the house is so formal. It has so many formal elements to it that I would say go with straight paths and have a hierarchy to your pathways. Two largest paths to the front door, break it down, and achieve some formality to the landscape to match the formality to the house. Because right now it seems like a different, and the planting is kind of just woefully inadequate at this point. You have like 10 plants on the list. I think perhaps a professional landscape designer you might engage at this point with this level of remodel. Whether it's a garden designer or a landscape architect, up to you entirely. But I think you could come back for preliminary. But those are
Thank you.
my long list.
Bill,
Yeah, I appreciate the efforts you've made, as we have kind of given you some direction, and I think you've come a long way, and I appreciate that. So, that being said, I do think that you're going to need to look at, as Tippett suggests, at some point you'll need some civil drawings or grading. And I think that area there by the entry to the garage, that's going to be tricky. And I mean, if you could do it, I think I would just have a path leading up to the entry from the upper driveway if you could do it. Maybe some of that sucks in there a little bit, but then you could get a lot more planting around the front door there. It might be kind of nice. Maybe there's a little courtyard or something in the front there that would be nice. And it's a separate access that leads you to the garage, like that. I think that I'm fine with the building. I think your proportions of the entry, the window heights there, I think your head heights or your,
311.
or at 8 foot.
311.
Yeah, go 311.
Could you say that again, please?
I think your entry door, I think the entry door wants to be 8 feet, if it isn't 8 feet, so that it lines up with your headers.
Of the ones on each side.
Yeah,
Yep,
maybe that would do it.
that'd be
That might
nicer.
Help the proportion there a little bit. I'm
Yep.
fine with the height of it.
I agree.
So I think that that's all good. I'm fine. Again, details are going to be important. I would also make sure you match, it looks like your Juliet balcony is a different railing than
It's metal.
other railing. So I'd, maybe pick
Coordinate it better.
pick a side and go with it, so that they match. And Tip's point about the railing there exposed on the garage, a way to fix that might be to do a solid low wall instead of
Ah.
railing just in that section, and maybe that would help.
Yeah, that would help a lot.
Have a little more
Yeah, I've been eyeballing it. I know what you're talking about.
heft there and
Yeah,
tie in the cable to it.
yeah, I wish it all aligned better, right? With the
Yeah.
wall above that corner to where the door is, but
Maybe
I
some,
don't want to add square footage, but that's a brilliant
need some weight.
solution of a solid wall there
Might
on
help.
that part of rail.
Gives you some.
Instead of a railing, do a nice solid wall, low wall.
Other than that, I think you could come back for preliminary. I'd be okay with preliminary and final, come back to full board. With landscaping, I think too. I'm going to let the landscape architects drive that one, so.
Thank you.
Because it's on for final doesn't mean we give it final.
Right.
So, but it gives them the opportunity to achieve final if we put it on. So I want to thank you for coming a very long way. I think that there is some very fundamental issues with the driveway from the front door and the garage. I would recommend, if you have nothing else to do today, go home and draw a section, right? Bring that elevation, the cut line, maybe 1 foot or 2 feet in front of where you are. I don't see how you get a driveway down there. I just don't think it's physically possible if that elevation is correct.
Right.
So I think ultimately you're probably going to end up with 2 driveways that have no connection. Please make one of them important and one of them unimportant. Maybe hide it as much as possible, the one for yourself, and then your guests would be a little bit more upscale, uptown. And the fire department used to permit us to back in or drive in 100 feet before we had to do anything. I think you can do that in both of those cases. They can get their trucks off the road, even though there's only one property up above it. And therefore you don't need a turnaround, and therefore you don't need a loop.
Okay, we'll revisit that with them,
but
with the Marshal.
Besides that, stylistically, it's your house, it's not mine. So please, just get it as good as you can. Internally consistent is the word I use. And, from my point of view, let's get you on for prelim final. The worst that happens is we clean up a little something on consent after that. Okay?
Thank you.
Nice job. Thank you for all of the work.
Thank
I
you
know
all.
it was probably frustrating, at least a little bit. Item number.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Item number 4, 306 Meadowbrook Drive. We had seen this a while ago with a much tear down, rebuild, something, and they're coming back with something smaller than that. Nick, are you with us?
Hi,
Is it Nick or Nicholas?
either is fine.
Okay, so the floor is it looks like it's just a cleanup. of
Yeah,
the-
it's a gut renovation.
Okay.
And as you'll see, the site work is generally the same, but we kind of scaled back the project from more of a tear down and something that was maybe doubling the size to just maintaining what's there, utilizing the existing structure, the existing footprint, and then redoing doors and windows, gut renovation of the interior, but the overall organization and layout is the same in terms of where bedrooms are, where bathrooms are. But maybe since we're looking at the existing house here, I can kind of talk a bit about the site work. You can see where the entrance is on the east side. It's a really tight entrance and can be really dangerous getting in and out there because it's kind of at a high point on Meadowbrook. So it adds to this kind of blind condition. On the next sheet, the other thing to note is just some of the eccentricities of the existing roof here. So that's something that we're trying to simplify. So if you click to the next sheet, this I included just to give some sense of that driveway, where the existing exit and entry is. And so this is something that, after the last time we met, we also, before this meeting today, we met with the DRB at Ennisbrook, and got unanimous approval from them. This was something that was a big topic of conversation, because we're proposing to move the entrance to the more closer to the north side of the site, for both like the flow in and out of the property, but also just because of this kind of, a safety concern for the owner when trying to exit the property. It's at a high point too, so cars are kind of accelerating as they're coming up the hill. So it's kind of doubled there in terms of it being kind of a sketchy condition. And if you click through, this is just a survey. You go to the next sheet. This is our landscape plan, developed by Arcadia. So this kind of shows, relative to the survey, where we're putting the new driveway, the new entrance, and then we're using a kind of garbage enclosure where the previous entrance existed, but that will be all hidden with landscape. Yeah, so then if you click through, this is our civil work. We're maintaining well below 15,000 feet of impermeable surface, and like 500 cut and fill. But this is just something that we really wanted to make sure we had in line because of the new driveway, and then also with some of the exterior patios that we're redesigning with the landscape, to try to minimize things like handrails and just help to conceal a lot of the house, add privacy both to the street but also to the house. So if you click through, again, the civil, and yeah, if you keep clicking, we'll get to the architecture. Yeah, so this is just a site plan showing how the roof sits on top of the existing footprint. And then if you click through, this is the lower level. So again, it's basic for all intents and purposes. It's the exact same as the existing. The green dash shows where the existing footprint is. We're moving some mechanical equipment and a kind of plaster wall here on the north side of where the garage entrance is, so that we can just very small kind of widen that garage, just in that corner where the black dash is. So that shows we're just kind of re-enclosing that spot, but everything else is the same. We are redoing the stair it's a really steep stair. And so we're trying to give it a gentler slope, and then opening up a bit of the floor there to bring some light into the lower level. If you go up to the first plan, so yeah, this just shows, again, similarly, the green dash shows the existing footprint. We're moving around a few walls, but for all intents and purposes, the general organization and layout is the same. And we're opening some walls up just to give better views. It's one of the things that's most underutilized in the existing structure. We're adding some skylights in the entry, where it's marked entry hall on the east side, to also help to bring light down to the lower level. And then on the north side, there's what used to be a kind of lower level roof above the garage. We're combining two existing patios to just give more exterior space on that side. So if you click through, this just shows what we're proposing for the new roof. It's we're trying to maintain the slope on all sides, and then create some covered outdoor space on the north and south, some like kind of usable covered outdoor space. Of course, putting the skylights in where the entry is, and just kind of overall like simplifying it. So yeah, if you click through, this just shows really how we're just using the existing exterior walls, proposing new doors and windows, and then yeah, putting the new roof on. If you click through, there should be more elevations, and then again, if you click through again, there's some building sections, shows us kind of north and south patios. And then we have a sheet of, well, that's a more detailed section. But if you click through again, the next one, yeah, this kind of just gives a sense of some of the materials that we talked about with the DRB, and we proposed a metal roof. One of the concerns was the potential glare, and so something that we had discussed with them is the idea to use a Corten steel, something that patinas, to kind of diminish any potential glare or reflectivity.
And are you done then, please?
Yeah.
Question, Stacy, please.
Can you look at the landscape plan, just really quick?
Yeah, one thing I should note is that the driveway was previously signed off on by Montecito Fire. And that was with the previous concept. So we've resubmitted to them, but for all intents and purposes, it's the same driveway.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Are you just so looking at the aerial views, it looks like from the drone photography that you had some big site walls down below. So are those kind of just diminished and going away? Are we not going to see them now?
The site walls where?
On the south, well, excuse me, because your north is to the right.
Yeah.
So on the east side. From the aerial, because in the topography, I could see in the earlier photos of the site.
Oh, can you?
David, can you just go to those from the aerial photos from the beginning of the presentation? They're right at the start. Yeah, see those big white site
Oh,
walls? Or are you
yeah.
just changing the color and the tone on them just to tone them down?
So we're no, we're actually redesigning that patio, and so the ambition there is, yeah, twofold: to kind of conceal minimize site walls as much as possible. And then also terrace them in such a way that we don't have to use handrails whenever possible. So that's kind of shown on the landscape plan, as well as the civil stuff, some of the sections through those walls. And then also in terms of the materiality, that's where we're aiming to use the carved sandstone and help to kind of camouflage that type of stuff.
Okay, that was my only question.
Bill, questions, please.
So is it a Spanish? It'd be nice to have better pictures of the existing house, but is it a Spanish tile, Spanish home kind of? Or it looks like there's arched windows and.
Yeah, if generally it would probably be considered Spanish. Spanish Mediterranean. There are some kind of very eccentric, almost neoclassical details. But yes.
And that all gets stripped off and you're going to do a kind of square edge plaster and a thin kind of roof with a standing seam. That's kind of that what I'm gathering kind of from the details there?
Yeah, it would be more maybe something more farmhouse agricultural style.
With a plaster or wood siding or shingle or what's the siding material?
The siding would be plaster.
Okay. And then go to the site plan there, Dave, again. So you're taking the drive and you're making it longer and you're taking the one that shoots right off the street. Are you going to thicken up the screening there where there was an opening then? So you don't see the drive at the top then? Is the circle drive, is that going to get screened away from the street now?
Yeah, so all along that west side on the street, the Meadowbrook side, it would be screened with landscape generally. And part of that is too, because as you're driving up Meadowbrook, you're kind of like right in that front entrance of the house. So it's our ambition to really kind of beautify that edge of the street.
And your new drive coming up from below, it goes through what looks like a little riparian habitat or something, grove of oaks. Is there oaks in there you're removing to do that, or what's happening in there?
We're not moving any oaks. There's two big ones you can see called out. Obviously the big black trunks. I can't see the numbers there on them.
I see them.
Yeah. So those are what we're really navigating between, and kind of balancing that as much as possible.
You're slipping under the canopies there. Is that what's going on? So
a little bit. Yeah. We've talked to an arborist about this as well. And part of where that original driveway came about was that when the north part of the site has a Montecito fault line through it. So it's really kind of the only way we can utilize that part of the site. We can't build anything on it. And then also these two oaks are, two of the most beautiful trees on the property. And so we wanted to give, some sort of progression through them not actually through them, but like next to them to help to kind of bring them into the, experience of the property.
And in your development of that driveway, are you, I know you haven't maybe gotten there yet, but you're grading around those? Are you going to have retaining walls along the borders of the road? Are you going to just do it with grading, or what do you think is going to happen there?
As minimal, I don't think there are any retaining walls along the road there. In the civil plan is, or the civil concept is attached here as well. Only once you get kind of south of those oaks, there's a dot. It shows where it's the steepest, but I think we're maintaining that grade, the existing grade, as much as possible. I know it gets up to like 12.5%, and that is because we really just want to use the existing topography and not have to regrade it.
Great.
So it's all pervious for the most part.
Great, thank you. That's it.
Yeah.
Chip? Questions?
Not now.
Robert, whatever that means. Robert, questions?
No questions.
Can we see the elevations, please? I think that you would be well served if you went on out and got what we affectionately call inspirational photographs and
Mhm.
really say, this is what I want, right? And then get that, because those doors in the middle on the upper elevation, I'm not quite sure how that gets framed. And, there's almost always some kind of whiteness below that. So really getting that, the thought of how all of this goes together, but that's not really concept. It's more preliminary. Obviously, this project is a heck of a lot easier to approve than the last one. And so I guess I go back with what Bill's comment was, I think, is, do you have a style really nailed down in your mind on this, please?
Yeah, I mean, so in terms of the style, it's, exterior plaster, with a very organic finish. And that's where I pulled in some of the, materials that we discussed with the DRB. And then the Corten steel, standing seam roof. So we like that, both of them have like a kind of organic quality to them. And especially the roof will patina, to be something beyond just like a typical steel roof, but help to, you know, bring in some of the organic qualities of the site and the landscape. But also like what was a very large topic of conversation, with the DRB, the Ennisbrook DRB, about, potential glare and reflectivity from the metal roof. But stylistically, yeah, I think it could be considered a kind of contemporary farmhouse, or, a contemporary agricultural, I don't want to get held up on, semantics, but, we're really maintaining the existing exterior walls and refinishing the plaster and putting on the new roof.
And the roof pitch, does it change from one roof to the other, or is it all the same roof pitch?
No, it's all the same, and we have it marked
Can we
on-
go to the roof plan then?
Yeah, we've,
Okay, so can I have the mic?
it's 5 to 12 everywhere.
If this roof has the same pitch as that roof, this must be a 45-degree angle. And this must be a 45-degree angle. And the same over here. So please study. The question is, have you studied the roof plan thoroughly, given the constraints of geometry that exist out here?
Yes, and that's something we have in 3D, as well as something that we've reviewed multiple times with, our engineer, that's, Hume.
Okay. Public comment. Is there anybody that would like to address the board on item number 4, 306 Meadowbrook Drive, please?
And for anyone joining us online, go ahead and raise your hand if you'd like to speak on this item, and I'll call on you. Seeing no hands.
Okay, we are on for concept, comments. Stacy.
So I think I like where the site plan is going and the new driveway, and I feel like I can really wrap my head around what's happening conceptually with the landscape. I am unclear about what exactly is happening with the architecture. And I think coming back, I'm going to suggest that maybe come back for preliminary, but with, you need to have existing elevations and then proposed comparing on each
Mhm.
sheet, and then definitely more design information, because right now can't really comment on it because I can't really envision it. But I think if you had the existing elevations with the proposed for each elevation of the house, it would help.
Mhm.
That's it.
Is that
Okay.
it?
Yep.
So for preliminary. With work. Okay, Bill, comments, please.
Yeah, I agree with Stacy on that too. I think landscaping looks good. Just make sure you show the screening of the existing turnaround there from the original pull-in. Show that nice and thick and lush, and then, just be cautious of the oaks and the impact and arborist information there. Make sure you're not impacting those. And then on the exterior of the building, I can see where you might be going, but there's no detail. Obviously, you're at concept, and it'd be nice to know, how you're doing the roof, how you cantilevering that long eyebrow over the long gable over the deck, and, what are the windows? Are they aluminum? Is it really a thin sash? Is there any cut lights? What's the railing? Is it glass? All that detail, I think we need to see color. If you have a model, that's great. Those are always good. Get some growies on there, make it pretty.
Mhm.
So we can kind of get an idea. And as John had mentioned on your east side there, make sure you can do what you want to do, because it looks like you've got no room for a header there, and you got a real skinny, thin roof. So anyway, we're going to want to see how that all coordinates and works. But, generally speaking, I think you're heading in the right direction. So I could give it concept and have you come back for preliminary.
Tip, comments, please.
Yes, I'm just looking at the existing house on Zillow, and I can see that it's clearly a very traditional Spanish Mediterranean with a lot of arches openings. It's very Spanish with no overhang, and the roof plan seemed to be very Spanish too. So, I think that's fine if you want to change it completely, which I think this is, even though the footprint is the same, but it's, even the roof plan is, what you've shown and what, existing is completely different. So because of that, I think I agree with the other board members that we really have to, see what's going on. That's what we are here for, to, review, to give the approval for the exterior, for the modification. And if you come back, and if you look at the existing pictures, there's so many elevations around the house. For example, I think that where the garage, which is the lower level, that, yep, the garage is completely one level lower with a slope roof. And if you can, and the house has so many angles. So if you might come back with like what, 5, 6 different elevations, as before, after, and some of the details, so we can see clearly how you are changing from what we have now to what you propose to do. And I
Mhm.
think that will be very helpful.
Yep, understood. Thank you.
Robert, comments, please.
I have a hard time with this project. The computer drawings don't do you any favors. The lack of detail. And if I'm not sure that you can do a metal roof in that portion of Innisbrook. I thought it was all had to tie in with the clubhouse, which would be tile. But the entire lack of detail and like the chimney, the doors, the windows, it just looks like a computer designed this home and not a human being. That's it.
So that was a big topic of conversation with the DRB. So we've confirmed that we can do a metal roof there. And it was, yeah, unanimously approved by them, just to clarify any doubt.
Okay, so you can also buy products with roof products with matte, M-A-T-T finishes, and they do not reflect light. So if you Cortan tends to be an expensive material,
Hmm.
so you may want to consider a matte finish. You'll get the same result. I think we would be, and you would be well served with bringing that 3D model onto these drawings. I don't believe that route plan, and I think that if you look at it, that'll help you. I think that this project is searching for a style. And I think that's what Robert is responding to, and I think all of us are. There are thousands and thousands of images on the web that can probably inspire you. You can go to some of the more popular and widely read architectural magazines and search their websites. It may cost you a little bit of money, but they've got significant stuff. There's other websites that are specifically for building, realtor websites. I mean, and then find the 5 pictures or 10 pictures, which we oftentimes see on projects, and get that onto the drawings, look at them as you're refining the fenestration. I don't think that there's any problem with the massing of it, but just getting the fenestration right. And maybe the introduction of bringing in rock, or maybe not, but just alternate materials rather than just a single material. Obviously, this is a hugely different project than what you had before. And I think you're going in the right direction. From a technical standpoint of view, we requested every project have an FAR worksheet. And if you could just get that on here too, just so we have it, that'd be great. Okay, so what do you want? Preliminary next time, everybody?
I think should come back for preliminary approval at the next meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, prelim full board. Okay, so do you understand all that, Nicholas?
Yes.
Okay,
Understood.
excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 5. 1401 East Pepper Lane. We are on for preliminary final. So you're up. We've seen this once? Yeah, once.
Hello, my name is Carl Cross. I represent Studio William Hefner. I believe William is going to join us by Zoom. I think the last time we were here, you mentioned that it was a nice project. The architecture, you were really waiting for the historical report on this project. We do have the historical report submitted, and basically, the conclusion of that was, I'm trying to find the last statement here. He says, the residence located at 1401 Pepper Lane is not eligible for listing of a historical resource under County of Santa Barbara and California Register of Historic Resources criteria. The proposed additions and renovations would not result in a significant impact for historical resource. So that being said, there are a few items that we did revise since you've last seen this. You could move over to the site plan, I guess.
Earl, did everybody get a chance to review this project before the meeting?
I could briefly go back and.
No, just Robert, did you get a chance to look at it? Okay. So, okay, go ahead and make your presentation. Thank you.
Sure. So just to kind of review, this is an 1895 existing farmhouse that was part of the original estate that was subdivided in. There was subsequently other additions put on over the years, some flat roof additions. You could see on this site plan, this is the existing site plan with kind of the shaded area being the main residence and the kind of flat areas to the right, some of the additions that were put onto them. Next, please. This is the existing house, and you could see from the layout, the original house, and then the kitchen and master suite addition. If you look at some of the kind of red broken lines, those are the kind of the demo areas. So we're planning an addition to the south. Next, please. So this is the existing house. You can see it has a lot of wood siding, a lot of beautiful vernacular kind of vertical windows on that with the asphalt shingles and dormers. And basically, we're just kind of copying those same materials. The base has a nice stone base around the main part of the house, and the decks are more of a vertical openings. Next, please. Next. We could get through this. So here's some existing pictures of the house. You could see on the top left corner, the front elevation. And as you kind of move around the house, kind of the grade kind of steps down, leaving that kind of skirt that's exposed there with the vertical venting and also the sandstone base. And as you move further around the house, those were the additions that were kind of more apparent. Next, you can keep going. So here's some of the detailing that's happening. The asphalt shingles has a kind of a matted gray that needs to be replaced. We're proposing to replace the existing asphalt shingles with the same type of asphalt shingle, but most likely in a darker green color. And the siding and of the side, the wood siding, we're going to keep around there. You can see the doors and windows as well. We're going to copy those original double hung windows there. And then the French doors have a nice style to it with the thin mutton running across there and the kind of the raised sill level there, which is nice. The porch has these existing benches that kind of wrap around there, and the 4x4 is kind of going through those. And we're not going to be touching a lot of the existing railing there that's kind of existing and non-conforming. Some of the base go around there has the sandstone, and some of the base has kind of the vertical wood slats, vented wood slats that we're going to keep as well. Here's the proposed site plan. You could see kind of the darker shaded areas of the south wing on the main house that will have a garden room, and then we're going to extend the deck to the south as well. That other shaded area to the right of that is the primary suite addition. And you can see those 4 circles there. Those are existing citrus trees that we're going to relocate to the right. You can see that little grove there to the right. As far as landscaping goes, there's really not much landscaping going on. We're really just kind of relocating the existing walking path that runs to the south side of the house further south and relocate those citrus trees to the right. On the upper left, there's some existing cypress trees there that will have to be trimmed per Montecito Fire Department guidelines to allow some clearances to go through there. But that's really the extent of the landscaping. Also, the project consists of a new trellis that's on the right facing east there and a barbecue deck to the north. Next, please. These are just some site sections through that. If you go back 2 more, please, David. This just shows the lighting plan, the exterior lighting plan. There's some existing kind of coach house style lanterns in the front entry. There's really only a few landscape lightings that we're relocating that you can see along the path. The two along the garden room facing south are going to be new. There's going to be some trellis lighting, small trellis lighting hanging from the trellis, and then also a couple lights along the wall and barbecue, but that's really about the extent of the lighting, exterior lighting. Next, please. You can see the dark post shade walls are really the extent of the addition. You can see the garden room coming off the living room there, moving on to a larger deck with two stairs on either side of that coming down to the yard. To the right is the primary suite, entered off of that garden room with the sitting area and bedroom. There's a small Juliet balcony off of the bedroom that faces east that will allow light in there. The bathroom will be renovated and new windows on that east side there. Kitchen will be renovated and the exterior will basically match the same style of windows and doors. And the deck will remain the same. We'll put a new trellis on that and then a new barbecue deck on that. This is just the roof plan showing the kind of loft space above the existing house there. And
Can we get to the details?
sure.
Oh, I guess elevations and then.
Elevations, yes. So the one thing that we were studying is we had a previous skylight that was in the area of the garden room addition. And you could see on the south elevation there on the bottom, that kind of clear story dormer window that is new that goes into the vaulted space in the garden room. So we do have another option that we were talking with the owners with as well, is to copy the existing dormer that's on the west elevation. And that might be another option as well. So this is the east elevation. You could see the on the left bedroom with the Juliet balcony, kind of balancing the trellis addition and the barbecue to the right on the kitchen deck. Section through the garden. Oh no, that's through the cross section through really the entry. So this is the section through the garden room addition on the top, showing that clear story space, allowing the light to come through there. Again, some detailing, there's some existing stone skirt. And basically we're gonna just use the same detailing and just move that over. And there's the area of the vertical wood ventilated underpass there. There's the existing guardrail that we will continue along when we extend the deck to the south there. It's also pickets that we're proposing for the Juliet balcony, because that's higher than the 30 inches. Existing stairs. And just some of the eave detailing there that we will continue with. And the style of doors. And copying the existing windows. There's some more base details. More roof details, skylight. Trellis. And that should do it.
Questions, Robert? Deb, questions?
No questions.
Stacy? Question?
No questions.
Bill?
Carl, I missed maybe the first meeting of this, but I noticed, go to Dave, if you go to A2002, you have a couple things. You have many roofs, right? You have a hip, you got a gable, you got a flat roof with an overhang, and you got a parapet.
Yes.
Had you thought about the idea of doing a parapet on that addition on the far left of the east elevation instead of a flat with an overhang? Actually, that's a shed you've got on there. It's real slight pitch.
Right.
Had you thought about the idea of a parapet? Because you have a parapet right next to it too. Would
Yes.
that work?
We
Is that,
extended that. We could study that.
is
I think
that
that's a
better, worse?
possibility.
Yeah, just an idea. And even if you didn't do the parapet, you could do that roof completely flat and taper it with the insulation, the foam.
Absolutely, yes.
And then you don't have a kick on it. And I think that, anyway, that's not a question, is it? I was just wondering if you had looked at that.
What you think?
Don't you think it might be an idea?
I think it's worth study, yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's just a thought. And the other question is, I'm assuming this is all high fire, the area that's under the deck or the floor where you have the slats, is that false then? Is that going to be false? Because a high fire wouldn't probably allow you to have it vented like that unless you treat it somehow with a fire vent. Just
Yes,
just a heads up.
treated, yes.
Yeah, just a heads up on that. Otherwise, no questions.
Thank you.
Is there anybody that would like to address the board on item number 5, 1401 East Pepper Lane, please?
No hands raised.
Okay, so we have preliminary, we're on for preliminary and final. What Bill is talking about will basically throw that away. So what do board members, Carl, what do you think? It's your project. You want to go back and relook at this, or do you want us to see if there's enough support the way it is, please?
I would say, our goal is to get preliminary at least approval. With maybe coming back on consent for final is an option. Or asking
Okay,
for a
so-
vote right now.
Anybody got an opinion about whether or not Bill has a better idea than what's shown or not? Anybody? Architects?
I'm okay either way, so.
I've been
whatever
on
you
this
wanna
site
decide.
20, 25 years ago. When I walked on it, somebody was thinking about buying it. I walked through that front gate and I just said, buy it. This is an incredible property. So my sense, from my point of view, keep my hands off of it as much as possible. It's just so charming. So that's where I'm coming from. Yeah.
Yeah, it was more of a heads up or advice if, I'm fine with it as it is.
Okay, so let's go through comments. Robert?
I don't know. Once again, I'm kind of perplexed about the varying roof lines and styles and whatnot, but maybe that is part of the charm, so I'm okay with it.
Yep, comments.
Well, yep, I've seen the project before and well, I think I'm fine with the way it is. It could be better, but
Stacy, comments, please.
I'm fine with how it is.
Bill, comments, please.
Yeah, if I was gonna do anything at all, I would just flatten your roof so your eave and rake are all the same, and I don't think that needs to be something that we have to make it as a condition. So
But you know
it's
what?
More of a recommendation.
that'll be better, that you flatten it. But anyway, it's just,
Yeah, just make it flat, and I think nobody's gonna notice a difference, at least from planning side, probably.
Okay, and then PDF page 22, please. Carl, those are nice pictures, but there's no specificity as to what the color is, et cetera. So if you could go through there and just actually get real numbers, paint samples, take your color deck out there if you want to match it, but so that there's something that the inspector can take a look at if he or she wants it. Well, I think that if you want to match it, I think that that's okay. And if you want to change it to something new, we've been asking everybody to have no more than an LRV, light reflective value, of 0.84. But I think it should be on the drawings, please. Now, what about the slight slope? He can come back, we can give it prelim final with review by somebody in consultation with the planner.
Yeah, if the planner wants to send me what you did, if you want to finalize that,
Would you
then
check the paint colors too?
I'll check the paint color too, yeah.
Okay, anything else, please? Anybody? Okay. I'd like to move for preliminary and final as submitted, except study the sloping roof. What is that? What at the master wing provides specificity on the colors, and the changes shall be reviewed by the planner in consultation with Bill Wolf. Is there a second, please?
Second that.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Okay, thank you very much, Carl. Item number 6, just in case somebody cares, we continued item 7. I know it's a little late to mention that. But item number 6, Tom, are you with us? 196 Santa Elena Lane? No. Oh, well, we have one. Is Tom here or is he online?
Nope, it's all on me today. Architect, planner are out and the owner contractor is getting married today. So you got me trying to explain the architecture.
Oh, great.
All right.
Okay.
Well, there were only a few comments from last time, so hopefully it'll be quick and painless, but we'll see.
Nice project and architecture provide historic report. May change depending upon the results of the historical analysis. Some members expressed concerns regarding the flat roofs.
It's a different project.
Whoops.
Hear me for a second there. Historical report.
Well, okay, never mind. We've got the notes on the wrong one. Go ahead.
Well, I think I have them. There were 3 comments. Mass, bulk, and scale are acceptable, but consider lowering the structure if possible. Consider studying the layout of the garage and relocating the doors to not face the street. And consider rotating the pool 90 degrees to allow for better use of the space in the rear yard. And those, I think, were all the comments from the last time. And so I'll just address those one by one. as you said, mass, bulk, and scale are acceptable. Consider lowering the structure if possible. If you recall, we were in talks with flood control, and they're still in progress, but it looks like we're going to be able to lower the entire structure. So that's what this represents, is a finished floor elevations that are much lower than you saw previously. So grading has been reduced greatly, a lot of steps removed, et cetera. We were initially going to do 2 sets of plans, one with the higher elevation and one lowered, but it looks like a sure thing. So we're just sticking with the lower elevation, which I think it was at 109.3, maybe somewhere in that neighborhood. And I think we originally had showed it at 112.5 or so. So we're down a good 3 feet. So that's positive. So the layout of the garage remains the same. We just didn't have the room. So the discussion was, do we put the garage door on the left or the west side? But the thought behind that was we're going to have a hedging all the way across. You might actually want to go to the landscape plan. A little easier to see, David. I don't have page numbers or anything, but so the idea is to use a much nicer garage door and the screening along the street to reduce the visual impact. Is there not a prelim plan in there? Big full color plan? Yeah, there you go. Okay. So, so really the thought is, you'll see from the front door leading straight out to the road is where that axis is, that center line. And we thought it was more important to have a nice progression up to the front door and to see that fountain element rather than come straight in and have the most of the entire front yard be garage. So we like this better. I think we had a 3D rendering the last time that didn't do it any justice. So yeah, but the idea is that we'll have hedging coming in from both sides, and it's really just that 12-foot, 14-foot opening, which as you pass by, you'll see the fountain instead of a big driveway. So we left the garage in the previous configuration. And lastly, the pool, I think Rob Fowler maybe had made a suggestion that we rotate it 90 degrees, but with the lowering of the house, now the pool is now at the same level as the interior at the finished floor. So this, I think there's a lot more benefits here. It sort of stretches out the view a little bit more. It's a little tight, yes, where that wing, the north wing is, but that's really the only downside here. So we left that as is, but yeah, otherwise maybe we should just run through the architectural plans and I'll just try and answer any questions that I can. Okay, thank you, David. Elevations. As far as I understand it, I don't think there were really any changes to materiality or anything. So the difference here in the elevations would be that they are much more grounded. Otherwise, previously they were sticking out of the air 3 feet, 3.5 feet. So this looks a lot more grounded. We can just keep going, David. Okay, west and south elevations. This is the garage, of course. Exterior light fixture, doors and window schedule. Details, footing. Okay, windows, door details. Eaves. And then no real change to the landscape either, other than, we've completed the set. This is basically what you saw the first time around, shows a little bit more of the planting. And of course, as I mentioned, the lowering reduced steps, the number of steps a lot. So we keep going, David. Just tree protection plan. Tree protection notes, details, hardscape. The driveway, stamped concrete, stone tile on slab for all the patios. And you'll see up in the upper left, northwest corner, those two yellow dots are significant oaks. And that was one of the driving factors behind the design of this entire site. You'll see a smattering of oaks throughout, but that became a deck to cantilever over that root system, so we didn't disturb the critical root zone. Keep moving, David. Just hardscape details. To our barbecue, irrigation plan. Wheelo, hydro zone. And I believe lighting, well, planting plan, of course. Low water, drought tolerant, Mediterranean succulent. And then landscape lighting, which we try to keep minimal. And do you have, is there civil set? Yeah, exactly, okay. So some pretty minor retaining walls. I think our highest retaining wall is maybe 3 feet. But otherwise, Walsh Engineering, we have a slight depression in that southeast corner to grab our stormwater for an infiltration basin. And that should be about it. There might be a few more civil sheets, but.
Questions, Bill, please.
Property fence, is there a fence?
There is.
Or is that existing?
There's existing on the east side and on the west side.
Is it just chain link or what is it?
It's sort of a combination, actually, wood and chain link.
Okay.
Oddly, yeah, it's a little strange. And I know on the north side, the neighbor to the north is planning on putting up a fence on his side of the property. The two property owners are in communication about what that will be. Yeah.
And the
wood.
pool equipment, does that have a screen around it? Looks like it's got a fence or something.
Yeah, it's good. It has a wall and wood gates. It's kind of tucked into the north.
Oh, it's
corner
like
of the
a
house.
CMU wall with wood gates on it.
Yeah, it's interior. If we go to the site plan or
Did you do a detail or just call out of that?
just call out.
Calling out.
Well,
I saw it on the site.
the enclosure
Yeah,
should have a detail on mine.
in your notes.
Just basically the CMU to match, and then I'm not sure we detailed the wood gates, but you'll kind of
See it up there on the left. I was
Yeah.
curious.
And then if we can, I honestly don't remember if we have a wood gate detail because we also have that trash area off the back of the garage. But it looked like on Tom's plan, that was all enclosed. So I think the idea would be to match
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
All right,
I
that's.
don't think anybody sees it either.
Stacy.
I like everything. It looks pretty good. Only one question, stamped concrete?
Yes. Why stamp? Well,
Why?
why stamped concrete?
Yeah, why stamped concrete as opposed to like a paver or stone or?
When I say stamped, I'm not talking about a heavy stamp. It's more like a light ripple, like a stone. It'll more likely be like a sand finish. So it's really just to get a little bit of texture to it. It's not meant to be like a flagstone looking stamped concrete.
They'd be divided, how you show it, like in a running bond pattern with the stamping?
No, in the driveway, it's just shown as,
Okay, so that's where the stamped concrete is.
yeah, it's just in the driveway zone. And then the other areas, the patios, that would be stone tile
Okay, that makes sense.
slab.
But you will have score joints then and expansion joints on the driveway if you're stamping it.
Yeah, as little as possible, probably every 8 feet or so.
That was it.
Robert,
No questions.
Tip,
No questions.
color scheme, I don't remember it. I looked at it. What page is that?
Question. Should be in the architectural set.
Yeah, it's,
Unless it's, I don't know if I saw it either. It may be called out on the elevations, but I don't know if that's.
yeah, we want a material board or something. So it doesn't look like it's there. Okay, public comment. Is there anybody that would like to address the board on item number 6, 196 Santa Elena Lane, please?
Go ahead and raise your hand if you'd like to speak on this item. No hands raised.
Okay, so we are on for prelim final. Bill,
Yeah, I like what you've got there. I think everything looks good. I saw the light fixture. I didn't see the colors. The details look good. I could give it preliminary and final
preliminary, yeah, and final with the color scheme,
with the colors. Yeah, to come back to planning with color.
right?
Yeah, as far as I remember, it's white, board and
This
bat.
one-
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, so is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, Stacy, comments, please.
And no comments.
Robert, please.
Looks like a very complete set of plans with the exception of the material and color board. So how do we deal with that?
We'll take care of that.
Okay.
Tip?
No additional comments.
Okay, and I have no comments. So does somebody else want to make the motion or would you like me to do it, please?
I'll make the motion
Okay.
to grant preliminary and final approval with the applicant to return to the planner, I guess.
To the planner.
and Maybe in consultation with one of us or not.
Do you want to do it again?
I'll do it again,
Okay.
with consultation with me to review the color boards, colors and materials.
Okay.
And if it is a white, keep the LRV under 0.84. Do I have a second?
Who wants to second
I'll
that?
second that.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Sounds like a wedding gift.
That-
Sounds like a wedding gift.
Yeah, right,
Yeah,
exactly.
there you go.
Thank you guys very much.
Okay, so Kimberly, Tip is leaving. And just before you do, he informed me that he's out for all meetings in July. Stacy told me that she's out for July 26th, 24, whenever that is. So. Okay, just. Okay. Okay, thank you. Tip, have a good one, whatever you're up to. Item number 7 requested to be dropped from the agenda, so we will not be doing that now. Item number 8, 590 Santa Rosa Lane is on for preliminary. Zach?
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, you're on there, okay.
Yeah,
We're good.
I'm
So-
digital today.
Okay, that's fine. MBAR appreciates response to previous comments. MBAR can support the requested modification and the project. Modifications to eliminate required uncovered parking spaces improves the design and quality of the project. Restudy front pedestrian entrance from street. restudy access to outdoor dining area. So we are on for preliminary today. Zach, it's up to you, buddy.
Yeah, so this is actually the third time that I've seen you guys. And I was hoping that this would be a final hearing, but we have to get preliminary approval before we move forward with our MPC. And we're trying to get a potential waiver for that. So just need your guys' blessing before that. And we're all cleared with our planner other than this. So, again, you've seen this a few times, so I'm not going to spend too much time going through it. But just wanted to note a couple changes to the plans since you last saw it, as well as the site. We made a couple changes, as well as kind of the general color scheme of the exterior. So one thing with the FAR, we've added probably about maybe 300 square feet to the addition. And the garage got a little bit bigger. I think now like maybe 20 square feet. So we've bumped up from 74 FAR to 86. But again, we're still under. So I kind of like to fast forward to the plans, which is A 1.0. I think it's sheet number 12 of the PDF. All right, so if you want to zoom in on that bottom right, that's our floor and site plan. Okay, so north is to the right in this plan. Red hatching in the plan denotes the addition square footage, and the blue would be the new attached garage. The original garage was detached, so we are now attaching it. And previously, we were showing only an addition at that northwest corner, with the new bedroom 3 and that kind of ensuite bath there. So that was the same as last time. What's different is the dining room, which is just east of the kitchen now. That was completely exterior space and was this kind of outdoor dining area. So now that's actually been enclosed into new floor space, and the entry has got a little bit bigger to accommodate that. And I believe that was kind of the main comment from the board, is access to that dining area as well as kind of the entry. So I think this solves it pretty well. And in the 3D perspective views, you'll kind of see how that entry looks. And I think it's looking pretty good. And then we have a new covered patio off of the south of the dining area that steps down back into the existing lawn. So those are the floor plan changes. In terms of the site, we were showing an existing perimeter site wall that was this existing kind of odd looking wood fence. We are now replacing that completely with a new cast in place board form concrete wall. Part of that for sound and privacy, because this is a corner lot. And the other part of it is because I think a little bit after this hearing, there was a big mudslide to the north, and this entire floor got flooded with mud because the runoff essentially runs directly from the street into the house. So this wall kind of helps that from the north and from the east sides. And one other thing that we did because of that was, if you'll notice, kind of in the middle of the building, we've added 3 steps up to the dining room from that 2-bedroom existing area. So the new improvements will be 18 inches higher than the previous finished floor. So that'll help us kind of drain away from the building and prevent any water from getting in from the street. Okay, maybe next page, elevations. Okay, so these are the new elevations. Again, this is a pretty minor addition, so we're trying to use as much as the existing structure as we can. But you'll see mainly in, I think number 4 is probably the one that we should zoom in on. But You can see on the left side there is the lower existing roof, which is above that 2-bedroom existing wing. And then you can see how the plate bumps up 18 inches to accommodate the 18-inch floor height difference. So again, we're still very low profile. There's a lot of large trees, oaks on the property, sycamores. And so in terms of the color scheme, we've kind of gone to a more almost like Japanesey green roof with kind of a brown wood tone for the beams and a really warm plaster color. And then you can see that new gray board form concrete wall along the street as well. So we're trying to kind of blend into the surroundings and stay as low as we can. Next page is the 3D views. So I think, yeah, that one kind of bottom right is of the new entry, which was the kind of the highly questioned area last time. So that kind of 3-panel window goes into the dining space, and then to the right of that is the entry, which kind of has this upper and lower concrete wall that leads your eye into there, and then the new covered patio off of the south side. So that roof above the dining room kind of extends over to cover the new outdoor area. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Question, Stacy, please.
No landscape plan?
We are not proposing any new landscaping under this permit.
Are you disturbing a lot of the existing landscape though? In
It's
order for all this new construction?
It's mostly just lawn. There's really not a lot of landscaping. There's a couple existing trees. But yeah, the owner kind of wants it to be almost like a Japanese, almost more like rocky rather than greeny. Kind of there's a lot of landscaping shown in the 3D, but that's really for just kind of visual effect.
Okay, I'll save it for the comments then.
Is that it?
Yep, that's my.
Questions, Bill?
Yeah, so in the site plan there, originally on the southeast corner, it looked like there was a huge tree or something. That's gone now? Did that die or what? Was that taken down or what?
So that was an existing jacaranda tree. And part of the issue that if you want to go to the site plan A 1.0, yeah. So if you look at the south side of the property, there's like a 10-foot road easement. And the existing site improvement, the existing site fence and a couple other things were within that easement. And so the roads division made us remove all of that. And that's kind of why our new wall follows the easement line rather than the property line, because we couldn't have anything in there. And so that wall just kind of like wraps directly into where that tree was. So that's kind of the reason why it went away.
So the other question is what you're showing there, it looks like a wall with something around the inside perimeter. Is that? What
Like
is
a
that?
dry gravel, like a
Oh,
dry
okay.
gravel bed, yeah.
And is the edge of the pavement there where you show the blue arrow is almost on that edge of pavement line? Is that what that line is? And I follow that around and it hits where the tick mark of the dimension is? Is that the edge of pavement right there?
I don't see the blue arrow, but
It's on your drawing there. I think is that your arrow, Dave? No.
I don't think that's
Is it-
on mine.
It's on the left of the drawing. You don't see that on there, huh?
Mm-mm.
Anyway, it looks like your site wall is about 2 feet from edge of pavement, if that even. Is that about right?
At the lowest or at the smallest area,
the
yes,
tightest,
kind of
yeah.
right where that meet and bounds, essentially
Yeah.
right where the road easement line meets the property line at the southwest corner, right?
And is that the edge of pavement too, or is there?
Yeah, yeah.
It
So
is.
it's about a 2-foot barrier between the pavement and the wall. Yeah.
And was there a reason why you couldn't maybe give yourself a little more than 2 feet there? just for
it-
planting and whatnot? Because you got pavement 2 feet and then a wall.
Yeah, I
Is
mean,
there a
it
reason?
it was actually tighter before, and I did move it out because I thought 2 feet would probably be okay, just to put a little plant bed to soften
Mhm.
the wall.
Mhm.
But then we're also, there is no rear yard in this house, so
Mhm.
this southeast yard is kind of the
Yep.
yard. So we just
That's
kind of
it,
wanted
yeah.
to maximize that.
Yeah, how tall is that wall, the board form wall?
It'll be 6 feet max.
6 feet, okay. All right, thank you, that was it.
Robert. Can we do a Google Earth or something like that, please? Yeah?
I was looking at it.
Come on, baby. There you go. I'm actually more interested in going up Santa Rosa. No, not Santa Rosa, but Lemon Grove. So Zach, the question is this, or let me make a comment first. As I remember back when the Montecito Land Use and Development Code was coming together, the community plan, this requirement for the extra parking place was 1 acre or more.
Yeah.
I don't think it was half an acre. I think it was an acre. And then at some point, when I was not aware of it, it changed to every property. So what you're basically asking is to go back to that original intent. Okay, so the question is, since this parking space is not going to be here and people come and visit your client, where the heck do they park?
Well, I mean, the
mean,
parking
you're-
spaces are there, they're just in the front setback.
Can I-
That's the problem, is like your uncovered parking space has to be out of the front setback. But we still have 2 uncovered spaces within the property. They're just within the setback.
I remember previously in the review, we talked about the parking and the board was amenable to allowing him to not have an uncovered parking space because of the YMCA that the house is right across the street from. All of the
Mhm.
additional parking and because of the constraints on the lot with the setback, we supported it previously.
Yeah.
Public comment, is there anybody that would like to address the board on item number 8, 590 Santa Rosa Lane, please?
Go ahead and raise your hand if you'd like to speak on this item. No hands raised.
Okay, so they want preliminary. Do you also need something besides that to go
Nope.
to the planning commission?
Just preliminary, and for the record, I forgot to mention, we do have a few details on the 8 series if that matters.
I didn't understand that. You had
Uh,
what?
We've provided a few architectural details, if that matters for this hearing
No.
on A 8.10.
Okay, very good. So, what do we want? Okay, so comments, Stacy.
Um, I, I like the style of the architecture. I'm fine with the additions on the house and the connectivity and being raised 18 inches. I understand that. I mean, I like the board form wall to some degree, but it's very, very harsh. And I think a little bit out of character with the neighborhood. So if you do it, I could support it if it had landscaping in front of it to reduce it. And I do think you are going to be disturbing the site quite a bit. And that you need to provide a landscape plan with, especially with Wu Call's calculations. But then also to take into consideration looks like you're adding the screening over here anyway on the north side. So just, yeah. That would be my main comments is the screening along the facade, especially if you're going to a solid wall and you're going board form in 6 feet. I understand from the flooding standpoint, but I think it definitely needs to be softened from a street view.
Bill, comments?
Yeah, I'm fine with the house. I think that looks fine. I'm okay with the 2 covered spaces and not additional. I am kind of on the fence on the wall with Stacy in terms of, I think that southeast corner is just a little too close to the pavement there. And I think you need to get that back off that edge of pavement at least and get as much planting and screening, and maybe you can vine up onto the wall, although I know you're trying to get the board form to look like a board form. But I think Stacy said it might be best if it was softened a little bit with landscaping. So I'm not sure how much to push it back, but I would get as much as you could, maybe another 2 feet. Make it 4 or 5, I guess, if that's acceptable to everybody else. At least on that one southeast corner, just a little too close to the paving there, and I think it'll be kind of ominous and not very neighborly feeling. And otherwise, I'm fine with it.
Robert, comments?
It's a well-done project and I can support it as is.
I think Stacy and Bill's comment about that wall was well taken. I think that the sight line around that corner is gonna be a little tough anyway. And to move that wall back will help increase that. But I think we should have a specification at this point that we want 4 feet or 5 feet, which one?
I mean, it looks like it's in the front yard setback. I didn't think you could exceed 42 inches. Oh, you can in Montecito? Grove?
Montecito,
There is a clearance requirement. I think he showed it on his thing. I don't know, have you gone through Public Works with the review of that, Zachary?
yeah. If you go to the civil sheets, there's a traffic triangle
Saw
shown.
that, yeah.
I thought Bill's comment about neighborly was, well, what do we want to do?
I mean,
what's
I
on?
like the 5 foot, but if you think is
Okay, so 5 feet from edge of pavement.
5 feet from edge of pavement, yeah, to give room for screening.
Okay.
I don't think we want to just see just a barren board form wall that, yeah, it needs to have planting in front of it.
So I will move for preliminary approval with the applicant to provide a minimum of 5 feet of landscaping between the paving and the proposed new board formed concrete wall on Lemon Grove. And yeah, I think just on Lemon Grove. There a second, please?
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Thank you, Zach. Good luck there.
Mr. Chair, if I could just confirm that through this motion, you can support the findings for the modification, that this is in the interest.
Yes, and we can
Fine.
support the modification findings.
Thank you.
No, I think it's better design and things like that.
Thanks, y'all.
Item number 9, 1530 Mimosa Lane. There's somebody here. Okay, excellent. Yeah,
Way to stay awake.
okay, so let me intercede here just for a second. They presented a neighborhood compatibility study that I felt was prepared incorrectly. I commented to them about that yesterday, was it yesterday morning? And today they responded with the neighborhood compatibility study that shows that which I want to thank you very much for, which shows that their project is at a 75% of neighborhood as proposed. And so we don't have to go through a lot, I don't think, with that, but this was the old one, right? Yeah, so I don't know if the new one has gotten into the set, but when they redid it, it was 75%. Just this and that. So anyway, besides that, please go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Jim Van Order, project architect for Design Art on this project. Mark Kirkart is also presenting a portion of it, but he'll be presenting via Zoom. And we also have Jessica Harlan of Barefoot Design, landscape architect, who is available to answer any specific landscape questions.
So we are on for both preliminary and final for this, okay?
Yes, we are seeking preliminary and final. Back up my mic a little bit. The board last viewed this project back in October of 2024 for concept. We worked with our planner. They've given us obviously clearance at this point to be able to sit before the board today. And we recently found out this week that we have complied with all flood control division requirements. There is Oak Creek, which is on to the north east portion of the property. It's not on the property, but it's adjacent to it, so that's affected. What we're proposing is a couple of things, both additions and a new structure, actually two new structures. And if we could turn to the site plan, which I believe is probably about 4 or 5 pages deep.
See the survey.
Okay, yeah. There were a lot of upfront pages that are taking space because we provided the historical report, which was 137 pages. So, I believe we're at the landscape, but can we turn to, that would be sheet A1? And I don't have in my head the PDF page number, but it's sheet A1. Yeah, it would be after the landscape. I believe they're directly after the landscape sheets.
34.
Thank you. Okay, on this plan, north is to the left. We also have Laguna Blanca School labeled. What we're proposing is the addition or an expansion of the existing kitchen, which is in the lower right portion of the main residence structure. Along Aliso Drive, which is an easement that serves Laguna Blanca School, there's currently on the northwest corner of the property an existing motor court where we are proposing an approximately 640 square foot parking garage for the residents' vehicles. And then to the east of the existing tennis court, there is an existing tennis pavilion, which we are proposing to remove and to reconstruct as a tennis cabana, which would have some enclosed spaces and some open space. If you, next sheet, please. This sheet shows the demolition of the site. It also includes some site work. There's some demolition. We have existing gravel pathways. And the landscape plans will show the reintegration and new paving. But we're showing some demolition of the site work. Again, to the east of the tennis cabana or tennis court, excuse me, is the tennis pavilion we're proposing to remove. Next sheet, please. This is the proposed site plan. In the main residence, where we're adding the kitchen, we're expanding the kitchen approximately 26 square feet. We're basically pushing that to the north. There is a current outside courtyard, sort of a privacy courtyard. We're moving that to the north as well, so that function stays with the kitchen as it grows to the north, and that's in the lower right corner of the main residence. Again, following up Aliso Lane towards Laguna Blanca is where we propose the 635 square foot garage, 2-car garage. It does have a little bit of a higher plate height because the owner wants to install a lift so that they can park more than 2 cars in there. But the plate height there, I think, is only 11 feet tall. We do have a height restriction that we are complying with the height of that building. And then again, at the tennis court, on the east side of the tennis court is the enlarged tennis cabana. I think maybe if we could go to the elevations, which would be at least 4 to 5 pages ahead. I think that's more telling than the floor plans. This is the elevation of the tennis cabana that we're proposing. I mentioned, could we go back one sheet, please? Thank you. This shows the foundation plan, the floor plan, and the roof plan for the tennis cabana. The floor plan is in the lower right corner. It will comprise of an exercise room with some equipment. The center portion of it is quote unquote open. It's not an enclosed area. And then on the left is a small powder room with a small gaming room on the left. Next sheet, please. North, south, east, west. Yes, north, south, east, west elevations. The tennis cabana is raised 12 inches above the plane of the tennis court itself to sort of give a little bit of separation. The materials are cementitious board and bat siding, and with windows that are both fixed with awning windows above. On the south elevation, which is the upper left corner, we do have one fixed window. That would be the window from the exercise room. And also, the foundation would be poured in place concrete stem walls, which we propose to finish with sandstone veneer. Roof tiling would match the existing residence, the mission style clay tile roofing. The pitch is 6 and 12. We could go to the main. Okay. This is the existing guest house. There are no exterior. The majority of the work is limited to the interior. It does currently have a kitchen, which is being proposed to be removed. The interior remodel also will include new fixtures and finishes in the bathrooms. And also we're proposing to replace all of the windows, and that would apply to the guest house and the main residence. They're all currently 1920s to 1950s, 60s style single pane windows. We're proposing to change those out for better thermal performance and as well as functional performance. We're not proposing any change to the muntin or the operation of the windows. The majority or the windows are all double hung windows to keep in style with the original intent. We were requested to provide plans and views of all the existing structures. This is the existing pool pavilion. We're not proposing any work in this pool pavilion. Again, it's provided in the set at request of our case planner. This structure we're labeling storage shed. We're not proposing any work at this structure either. These two structures are also existing, as you can see in the photograph in the upper right. That's the pool equipment shed and the gardener's equipment shed, which is in the southeast corner of the property. And if we could go back, we're here. So the proposed light fixtures, we have door and window schedules, and the light fixtures that are showing are proposed for the new garage. The upper fixture would be to the left and to the right of the pair of doors. We'll see the garage elevation in a moment. The fixture below would be the wall sconce adjacent to the man door of the garage. If we could go back, I think we jumped ahead perhaps in on the elevation sheets. That, if we could, I'm sorry, could we go, yes, there, please, thank you. Thank you. I apologize, I don't have the exact number of sheets or the PDF page numbers. These are model rendering views of the proposed tennis cabana. And if we go back one sheet. This is the elevations of the proposed garage, as I mentioned, and we are proposing to do a lift in the garage. We have a pair of doors, garage doors. We're proposing small pergola above the door to soften the feel of that. The roof pitch matches the residence, which is 4.5 and 12. Finishes on cement plaster. The building would be painted to match the existing residence. The roof is mission-style clay tile roofing to match the existing residence. The windows, on the window on the east elevation, there's the man door, which we're proposing as a Dutch door. The window to the right, again, is following in the style of the existing residence with shutters on each side. And the south elevation, which is upper left, pair of windows. And in the last, when we sat before the board in last October, there was a comment that the windows we currently shown were a little small. If I remember correctly, they were sort of floating in the elevation, so we've enlarged those windows to anchor them and into the elevation. And we go back one. This is the plan of the garage, floor plan lower right, foundation plan upper right, roof plan on the upper left, with a spec sheet for the lift inside the garage. Again, model view renderings of the garage. The lower left is probably one of the more telling views. The site wall and the gate to the lower portion is the entrance off of Aliso Lane into Laguna Blanca School. Yes, main residence elevation and slash section. The upper view shows what the exterior elevation of the expanded kitchen would look like from the private patio area. We're proposing a 4 and 12 pitch for the upper roof, which is the section shows. And because we want to maintain the plate height, we are changing the pitch to a 3 and 12. Previous sheet. Comparative elevations of existing versus proposed. Proposed being on the bottom. Similar to the garage, a comment on the windows at the garage from the concept review last October was that the windows we were proposing on the west elevation were a little light and appeared to be floating in the elevation. So again, we've enlarged those, raised the head heights to anchor them in the elevation. Previous sheet. Again, existing and proposed. The lower elevation being the proposed this is the south elevation. We are, aside from the kitchen expansion, we're also proposing to remove 2 windows. Those are the windows that are in the current dining room, and to install a pair of doors. Similar to the right of that view, which is where the living room is, so that they would have direct access, the client would have direct access from the dining room into their private courtyard. Previous elevation. Not much happening on this elevation, and again, we're just showing existing and proposed, except there in the lower drawing, in the upper right portion of the second story, we are proposing to add a fireplace in the primary bedroom, and the chimney would be part of that. Previous. North elevation. Where the upper view obviously is where we're showing the removal. There's currently a cupola above the existing kitchen. And then in the lower is the view of showing the north elevation of the expanded kitchen. That is obscured, which is why we had that in the section, that is obscured by the existing storage structure, the attached storage. So that would be the view. It doesn't look straight into the courtyard. Previous. Proposed roof, existing and proposed roof plan. Again, the existing roof at the residence is 4.5 and 12. For the upper roof of the expanded kitchen, we're proposing to match that. And due to height limitations, maintaining plate height, we wanted to change the pitch in the lower portion of the roof to 3 and 12. And as we go back, second floor, existing and proposed. One more back, please.
We don't need to see the floor plans.
I'm sorry?
We don't need to see the floor plans.
Okay.
Unless there's a question from the board.
I think at that point, I've presented everything.
Color board, I didn't see it.
We do have on the G sheets, we do propose, we have colors that we showed. I don't have a physical board, but we would be happy to present that or provide that.
Thank you.
How about landscape?
We do have landscape. And I believe Jessica from Barefoot Design should be available for any specific questions.
Yeah, I'm happy to run through that.
Jessica, will you run through it, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So here's our overall site plan. This is as you can see, we have a very large site, a lot of which we are not touching. The main area that you will see we are updating is in between the main residence, the guest house, and the proposed garage structure. The area in the upper right-hand portion that's shaded out green is the area that encroaches on the creek buffer zone. And we have worked with a biologist to create a mitigation plant palette for that area. And then because the existing garage is encroaching on the root zone of a significant oak tree, we are being required to mitigate 10-to-1 with oak trees. And you can see those are indicated with the green circle with the cross in the center. And that is tucked in around the existing kind of oak woodland and beefing up kind of the overall character of the existing perimeter. If you go to the next sheet, please. The main hardscape updates we're doing are very much trying to keep in taste and style with this home. We are trying to retain as much of the existing terracotta and brick paving, and then bring in a more time kind of sensitive or historic sensitivity to the layout of the property, using axes to connect structures and create, I guess, spaces within the landscape from which the clients can entertain and find refuge. The areas shaded in brown are a proposed terracotta and or brick paving to tie into the existing infrastructure of historic tile work and flat work. And we're very much trying to keep with the existing look and feel and history of this site. Going on to the next sheet. We're not doing much hardscape wise in this portion of the site. We are updating some of the existing gravel paths in and around the pool pavilion. And that's more of a refresh rather than a new element. Going to the next sheet. This area, obviously, there's the new tennis cabana, and we've reduced the amount of traditional lawn and substituted with a native meadow that will go into that, in and around that tennis cabana area, and then a little path that kind of wraps around. Lighting wise, oh, if you could go back up to 2 clicks. I didn't address the lighting. We're doing all down lighting with primarily path lights for safe path of travel, and then utilizing a hanging pendant light out of the existing oak trees and olive trees to create an overhead kind of mood, but overall all down facing and creating a safe path of travel. So now you can click down, I'd say I can run through the irrigation and then planting if need be.
I don't need to see the irrigation.
Okay, so go down like 5 sheets. One more. One more from there. Another one. Thank you. Okay, so currently on the property, it's a lot, the areas that the client loves the most are layers of boxwood, lavender, rosemary, very traditional. And we are going to be keeping with the historic planting and the rose gardens and building upon that, creating like I said, an axial formal framework. We're using plants that are currently on site and trying to work into that existing framework and using plants that meet the water use requirements. Go down to the next sheet. In this area, there's an existing lawn and rose garden and woodland planting zone underneath that oak canopy that is all going to remain. It's in good condition and we don't want to touch it. Next sheet. This is the area that we are updating, and it's primarily because of that the creek buffer zone. And we are doing a variety of native plants and reducing the amount of lawn and using Agrostis palens to create a water-wise garden that, again, suits the traditional formality of this property. And that's what I got. Thank you.
Mark, are you also done?
Well, are we going to be required to present the FAR or from
No,
John, from your
no.
earlier comments, you're cool with it?
Yes, thank you for redoing it.
Okay. Yeah, and I think you were going to look at the color board because it's a digital one, but we did select colors from, I think we utilized the city's HLC colors for,
Yeah, Bill pointed it out to me while we were here and I remember seeing those. So
yeah, it's a very handsome color. It's a very handsome color. We're very happy with this project. It's a beautiful, beautiful house in the hedgerow.
So shall we go on and ask questions and things? Mark?
Yeah, sure, please.
Okay, questions. Robert? Stacy?
I think I'm fine.
Bill?
Are the sheds and all the little outbuildings, are those already permitted? We're not approving them or reviewing them. They're just there and
They're already existing.
They're already permitted and
Yeah.
existing.
already permitted.
Yes, they
Okay.
are.
And are you changing any of the railings out or is that all existing? If you're doing it, you're just matching it?
Railings on the main residence?
Yeah.
No, we're not changing any of the railings. Actually, there's some ironwork which we're cleaning up.
Okay.
And we'll identify the color of that on the color board.
Painting. And was this a GW or not?
No, not determined to be GW Smith.
Okay, that was it. Thanks.
Jessica, the tree lights.
Mhm.
It seems like the only tree lights you have are at the most exposed part, which is the sarcastically highly traveled Mimosa Lane throughway there. Is that correct or is there anything
No,
else?
there's more. Go to L 1.0, please.
And what height are you thinking of mounting those, please?
So we do just,
It's just down
Yeah.
there,
Oh,
right?
yeah, no, you're right. It's just, so this is this area here.
And, and what height are you planning on mounting them to?
About 8 feet. So just to create an overhead ambiance light for this gravel dining area
And
off the kitchen.
is there any kind of a wall or lands or hedging or something
Yeah,
on
yes.
Mimosa?
Yes, there's an existing Loris hedge through here on both sides of the wall, and there is also an existing 5 to 6 foot wall that comes through here.
Thank you. Public comment. Is there anybody that would like to address the board on item number 9, 1530 Mimosa Lane, please?
No requests.
Okay, we are on for preliminary and final today. Comments, Robert.
It's ready to go.
Stacy.
I support the project how it is, and I think Jessica did an exceptional job on the landscape.
Thank you, Stacy.
Did
I
Mark,
approve it for preliminary.
did Mark and Jim do an exceptional job? On-
They did a good job too, but, you know,
Thank you,
they
John.
did exceptional. Yeah.
Thank you.
You know, you need a little pat on the back every now and again. Bill, comment?
I think everybody did an exception.
Yeah, there you go.
Including the planner
And the guy that prepared the FAR study.
and the FAR study guy too.
Thank you.
Not to mention names or point fingers. Yeah, no, it looks good. I could give it final or preliminary and final.
And I agree. Who wants to make a motion, please? Preliminary and
I'll
final.
make a motion to grant preliminary and final approval for 1530 Mimosa Lane as submitted.
We'll second that.
Second. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Thank you all.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
very much. Thank you.
Okay, so item number 10, Robert, Chuck, 247 Olive Mill Road.
Get us out of here.
Yeah. Okay, so MBA likes the architecture and site layout, site well screened from roadways and neighborhood. One member suggested restudying material and interface between stone and stucco on the south elevation. One member suggested making the entry drive and motor court area less formal. Return with full details. You are on for what today? Preliminary and final. Robert?
Okay, I'm gonna do the architecture first and then Chuck, we'll circle back to that, okay? So I think there's a site plan, David, a couple of sheets for it further we can get to. You're gonna have to skip over Chuck's stuff. It's all the drainage, so just keep going. So I think it's maybe one or two more. That's the fire department. Oh, maybe, oh, you can go back to the fire department one, and I can use that. So right now there's an existing house that's being taken down that's in the upper left corner. Previously, we built a new ADU that's in the southwest corner. And also that included a driveway that's there now, it's existing. So the only new paving we're doing is the actual auto court in front of the house. So we're proposing the new house, as you can see, a new pool and a new cabana. You can jump forward to the, I guess the floor plans are next. This is a basement plan, has mechanical areas, wine, some storage, laundry, that sort of stuff.
We
Next
don't
page.
need the floor plans.
Okay, skip to the elevations. Again, this is the cabana. It's a little stone building, mostly using it for the covered porch. There's a little bathroom and some storage. You can see the color palette. You can go to the next one. So this is basically the garage elevation. If you zoom into that upper left area by the garage, can you do that? I mean, in that archway where the stone is? That's where the comment was about the stone in the plaster. And we plan to feather that in as it goes across the top of the arch and then slowly becomes plaster. And you'll see peaks, little peekaboos of stone here and there as it goes completely to plaster. Okay, you can zoom back out now, dude. That's okay. So the design is exactly the same as you saw the first time we came through. The color palette is on the right. If you go to the next, so we have this is the front door, the other side of the house, basement windows, shutters. We do have some trellises, one a wood trellis, one a steel trellis that will be covered with vines and that sort of thing. Fireplace is a stone. Obviously, the roof is clay tile. If you keep going, we'll get through sections. I don't know how much you want me to spend on this. We'll get a couple more pages of sections. You can keep going. Then we get into the next would be the details. We have our overhang details, our steel door and window details, typical roof details, ice curtain details. We just create next page. This is the wood trellis that has full-scale details for the peels. The next one is the covered porch and the detail for that. And the next door and window schedule. The next, okay, and then the rest of it is that the last page? Yeah, okay, that's it.
Landscaping?
All the way back to the front where the landscape should be.
Yeah.
Oh, is that a joke?
Start with lighting.
Yeah, lighting's several sheets back. That's tree protection. And erosion control and the contractor washout. And if you keep going, there's a few built elements. There's a wall behind the motor court with an urn on it. Keep going. And there's the outdoor fireplace. And there's a fountain in the middle of the motor court. And planting. I've had to split the, I think I'm at 10 scale, so I split everything into 2 sheets. So every subject has 2 sheets. So you can go ahead. Irrigation. And lighting. So there's a couple of, there's a little bit of uplight in the fountain. That's that brass one on the upper left. And then there's just downlights. Pathway lights. Keep going. And then just the rigmarole of WELO. And that kind of calculation stuff, soil test, and the just basic specs. That's it.
You done, guys?
Yeah.
Questions, Bill?
So the ADU was existing, you built that a long time ago, and the driveway to
Just
it?
finished it.
Oh, okay, and the driveway to it, that
The
was,
driveway was part of the ADU because the fire department required you have access. The reason we did the ADU first was the owner wanted a place to stay while this was getting under construction. So we did that first, got the driveway, we got all of the drainage stuff taken care of. We work with roads and all that stuff is done. We did, there was some oak tree mitigations, all that stuff is done, it's already put in. So it's a good portion of the project is already finished. I mean, as far as the grading and the drainage and the driveways.
see any details for if you cut a section through the entry door, there's a nice entry cover, and you've got some Romanesque columns and a little
Um,
ceiling and an open porch there is.
Well, the open porch is basically just the second story off the master bedroom. And those are just some simple plastic columns that will provide,
It's just-
you know, full-scale details of.
Is that a
of the-
plaster wrap on?
It'll be a plaster wrap, yeah.
The
And then the entry door is, could I look at it again and make sure?
the
I don't wanna-
next elevation?
I think it's one more. Yeah, that's all plaster.
That whole thing there, so that's all plastered, the columns are plaster, and then the iron railing. I didn't see any details for any of that stuff. Not a big deal.
Yeah, it's something that eventually we'll just use our computers and print out a full-scale profile of the cornice and the base.
Stacy, questions?
I have no questions.
Robert, questions? I was driving along Olive Mill Road going north, and so the driver's side can see the construction next door. I was very surprised how bare everything was and how visible that house was.
You'll be happy to know that we're planting about 8 trees in the next couple of days.
Okay, and are you doing a similar thing to block this out? Because it was visible.
It's a Loris hedge.
Well, we're
the
also
top of the
planting, there's 5 or 6 new oak trees that we're putting in to block that.
It's
We had because of the driveway, we had to do a lot of grading, which opened up a lot of area. So that's all gonna be put back. We're bringing in some big trees. And by the end of the day, you won't see any of it.
And that's true here too.
Correct, yeah.
Public comment, is there anybody that,
This one's already done, all that stuff, the driveway and stuff is already done. So the way it is now,
Yeah, but I
you
don't-
can't see the house. You know what I mean?
public comment, is there anybody that would like to address the board on item number 10, 247 Olive Mill Road?
No requests.
Okay, so we are on for both preliminary and final. Bill?
Yeah, I think the house is beautiful, landscaping looks good. You know, sans a few details that you're gonna be working on, I could grant it final approval, preliminary and final at this point.
You're good. Stacy, please.
I can grant final approval.
Robert, please.
Nice project and, you know, I appreciate the traditional style. I think that's what Montecito is all about. The only thing I kind of get funny with are the chimneys that are so narrow and tall. Are they just gas vents? What are they?
No, we're trying to keep those as thin as possible. So we try to stay away from these massive chimneys going up in the air. And so we.
Are they wood burning or no?
It'll be wood burning, there'll be isochrones. So, but they're 36-inch boxes, you need like a 16-inch flue, then you got a stud and you get an inch and a half of stone on either side.
Yeah,
But-
they seem impossibly thin to me, but if you can
It's
pull it
about
off.
30, it's about 30 inches
Yeah, okay.
square.
Okay.
No,
Is that important enough to ask them to look at it, or is it just their design, let them do their work?
I think they will
Yeah.
be what they will be once you put them together.
Who would like to make a motion,
Might be
please?
better.
Who would like to make a motion, please?
I motion to approve final,
Preliminary and final?
preliminary and final.
For a second,
I'll
please?
second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all those opposed. Nice job.
Thank you.
Okay, so I
Good
want
night,
to talk
guys.
to everybody just for a second after we adjourn. I move to adjourn the meeting.
Second that.
All those in favor? Aye.